course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Sugar Chateau Desserts is a specialty bakery located in the Charlotte, North Carolina metro area. We will create delicious and one-of-a-kind treats for any occasion. Sugar Chateau is currently shipping cakes in a jar, offering a variety of different flavors in a single-serve container that can help you celebrate in accordance with social distancing. Place your orders today by calling 803-526-7895 or visiting sugarchateaudesserts.com.
Q Time is a classic Atlanta soul food restaurant located in the historic West End. Q Time Soul Food is a family business started by Fred and Christine Crenshaw. Come on in, relax, and sink your chops into our tantalizing, mouth-watering, distinctive soul food with a twist, the Q Time way. 1120 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, or call your order in at 404-758-2881. Do you miss your mama's cooking? Then come on down to Q Time, an Urban Passport member.
I'm returning to Clinton Parish, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Parish, we take the pain out of being hurt.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
What's up? What's up? Hey, man, I'm going to get the hang of this eventually. Welcome to Random Thoughts with DVP. Guess who it is? It's your host, DVP, and I'm here, and this is what we're doing. Today is the 3rd of February, and, you know, I didn't really think it was a secret, but, you know, let me just go on and get my little quick monologue in, because I got some guests in. We got some things we're going to get into. Secret number one that it seemed to be escaping a lot of people. The president of the United States, his name is Joe Biden. It's going to be that for the next 4 years or 3 and some change, you know, 362 days or something like that. I don't know exactly how many, but that's just what it is. And I'm confused And I'm gonna just tell you now, one of my guests on the show is my brother Omega. And Omega will tell you, me and him disagree on stuff, but you know what? Our disagreements don't revolve around factual data. He may ask me who I think is a better rapper, or who I think is a better football player. Those are opinions. When I say today is Wednesday, guess what? Me and Omega gonna both do. We're gonna agree on that. We ain't finna start talking about, oh, somewhere it's Thursday at 5 o'clock, cause he already having his drink. But I'm gonna let him tell you about his drink. He gonna stay sober this show, at least most of it, not like he did the last show. But anyway, I'm rambling. But I just wanna say, people, we can debate a lot of stuff, but most of all we can debate is emotions or opinions. Certain facts are what they are, and this Kool-Aid that cult drinkers are drinking and don't know it's Kool-Aid. I'm gonna just say this. See, I don't go to people's pages to start shit. But if you come to my page and I ain't got nothing to do, I got plenty of time. And I already made a post. When I got time, I'm petted with all capital letters. And when I ain't got time, I will come back when I do got time. But your opinion don't mean nothing when we're discussing facts. See, we're going to have a show today, and I got some people because we're going to talk about police stuff. Now, don't get it twisted. I was a cop for 22 years, so I know a lot of ins and outs. But the reason I bring people on the show and I want to talk about especially police issues is because it's hard for me to talk as a regular person and understand what they're seeing. Even though I have my own experiences, I need for them to tell me theirs, and I need for people to understand why, despite what y'all say, being crunk and these other activists ain't telling y'all the truth, and this is why certain things keep going on. I want to fix them. Three things can be true at the same time. I'm pro-black, I'm pro-military, and I'm pro-police. But for the past 2-3 weeks, I've been ashamed of all three groups at the same time. The police for the crazy shit that they have been continuously doing. The military combined with the police for all this shit that happened at the Capitol. When they saying 1 out of every 5 people who participated was either in the military or a cop, that hurts me to my core. Because it's one of them things I took pride in. I don't care how you feel about the military or how you feel about the police. It got me this house, which is my third one. I ain't finna say nothing bad about the military. The VA did good by me. It's taking care of me, sending me a little check. Hey, I will admit some things didn't go right, but for me, it's doing good. I was a cop for 22 years. Yeah, once I got in, I sought to try to change the system once I saw how messed up it is. And I could name people, but that's not good. But people could tell you they've called me for information. I've told them how not to beat the system, but how to work the system in their favor. So to understand the war, you got to be where the war is. I don't knock nobody who sit back and talk about what they won't do, but you can't make change from the outside. See, and I'm going to pick on my boy Omega because he's here. I can't change Omega's house from here. If I want to affect change in Omega's house and show, I got to go to his house. Other than that, all I'm just doing is speculating because I ain't seeing what he's seeing. To change what's going on in the police, in the military, or even in politics, you got to become part of it. You got to sit at that table. And more importantly, when you sit at that table, sometimes you got to sit down and shut the fuck up and listen and learn. It ain't always about expressing your opinion so people know that you heard. Because when you talking stupid, they look at you like you stupid and they still don't hear you. See, it's Black History Month. And when we're being honest with ourselves, the way that they took everything from us is because they sat at a table with us, gave us something to drink, gave us something to smoke, but they watched everything we did. Europeans, farmers, whoever it is you brought us over here, they didn't know nothing about farming. You look at how they learn math, how they learn hygiene, how they learn water and all that stuff. They learned it from us. They sat back and watched us do it. Once they figured they had it, they took over. Unlike how we do stuff, we just go in and spew shit and talk about what this and what that. Because if they gave all us 40 acres of the mule, most of us going to lose it when it's come time to pay taxes, or we're going to let weeds overtake it. So I'm not here for that portion. But if you want to fight, come to the page. And hey, don't get mad. Don't run off whining. You ain't even got to apologize and say you're wrong, because I know because you'll change the subject or you'll block me like so many of y'all have done. But with that being said, we're going to just jump on into the show because a couple of people have hit me up about a couple of things that's happened lately. And y'all know when it comes to police, I like to sit back and wait a couple of weeks, get all the information, not just a video or 15, 20 seconds or something. and become emotionally driven and then give out bad information, because that's what happens way too many times. Yeah, this was awful, this was this, and a lot of things, they look a certain way and they are what they are, but that don't mean that they wrong, because you got to know how the system works and what's going on with it so that you can affect change. Because sitting back bitching about it, or you bitching with people who not agents of change, all you're doing is wasting time. So without further ado, I got a couple of guests, they running late, but y'all know how we do this. Ain't no one somebody gonna stop the show. I already said, hell, if the host ain't here, the guest can start my show. So I know I got Omega here. You know how Roy do it. Roy swear he ain't gonna never say nothing. Then all of a sudden, I say something, he take that deep breath, and then he raise a hand like I can't see him, and then we gonna do it. But I'm gonna let Omega introduce. You know what? Because I dismissed Roy last week. I ain't give him a chance to introduce himself. So I'm going to let my super producer come tell y'all who he is first. And he going to be quiet for all like 3 or 4 minutes before he has something to say. Come on in, Roy. Tell the folk what's up and what's going on with him.
Yeah, you funny.
What I do?
No, hey, Roy Evans, President, CEO, Jericho Broadcast Networks, 20 plus year media political consultant, agent of change, as he likes to say, somebody working to change the world. That it.
And I got my boy Omega. Like I say, we met, and we exchanged a couple ideas. We went back and forth, and the brother showed respect. He still ain't put on this show, but he got a drink now. So with this drink, he gonna start putting on the show, because that's all it take. He got his gin, I got my infamous blue, and so we gonna drink adult libations. Get a quick sip in, and we're gonna make it do what it do. Omega.
How you doing, everybody? I'm Omega Black. I'm representing Sankofa Bottling Company, Sankofa's Gin, Citrus Berry Gin. So if I get the rambling or going off, y'all let me know, because that means I had a little bit too much of the gin. But y'all keep me on track, man, and I'll keep y'all on track. That's about it. Let's ride.
All right, we're gonna talk more about that. So what I want to do, what I want to start with is, I've seen some videos, and one of the things I love to tell y'all about is what happened recently. And this is for my people who are local in the state of Georgia, especially in the city of Atlanta. Do y'all remember during the uprising when they had when Atlanta cops tased 2 college students in a car? You remember that, Roy?
Yeah.
And the mayor fired him, and everybody was like, yeah, that's what's happening. And I told y'all then it was a bad thing. And I'm gonna tell y'all some things about the cops. Don't get me wrong, I'm still pro cop. And certain things, if they change, it's gonna take time. But she fired him, and everybody was, yeah. Well, guess what happened yesterday? They're back on duty with back pay. So guess what? They got 30 days of paid leave. And again, this is what happened. This is the other side of the story that y'all don't realize now. Now that they had to hire them back because they were illegally fired, she can't do nothing to them for 5-6 years, or else it's going to be deemed retaliation. They got to commit a super duper cardinal sin, like murdering somebody on camera, because now they just hit protected status. Anytime you cheat the system like that, that's what happens, because she violated their basic right. And this is what I try to tell people. When people telling, we got to there's a reason certain things happen. There's a reason they put police on administrative leave first. And, why they on paid leave? Understand this. Most police got time. You got to understand what administrative leave is. That's what they put them on while they do the investigation. It's just the title. If they ain't got no leave saved up, guess what? They don't get paid. But if they got sick time or whatever saved up, they start burning that, because they're going to get paid for it anyway. Even if they get fired or whatever, you got to pay them for all that leave they've accrued. So administrative leave ain't nothing but saying, we're going to let you sit somewhere till we investigate this and burn the time you got, because we can't stop your pay, because you're going to get it anyway. So people don't like that, but it's because most people have never been told what administrative leave actually means. Oh, why they still getting paid? Well, they going to get paid. If you got a job that gives you leave and you got 200 hours of vacation or comp time, whatever, if you get fired, guess what? They still got to pay you for that time. That's just the way it is. So it's not a good thing because don't nobody want to burn they leave when they ain't got nothing planned. So don't get upset about them being put on administrative leave. It's the first thing that's got to happen. And if we let them quit, then you lose a whole bunch of other series of things. And that's why I'm against letting cops quit in lieu of resigning or in lieu of it. Don't let them quit. Because you don't have to accept the resignation. Go figure. See, if you don't let them quit, guess what they can't do? I can't commit a crime here, quit because I'm under investigation, and then go to Maryland and become a cop up there and use what I got. Because the minute I quit, my file get closed. So if my department ain't filed an investigation against me, it don't even go into my folder now. Or if they decide they want to, my folder's still being closed. So when I go to Maryland, I'm just a guy who has been trained in another state, but none of the investigative stuff follows me because by the time they filed it, I was already gone. So we want cops to stay cops while they're under investigation. That way.
Hold up.
Yes, sir.
Because what you just said don't make no kind of sense on two separate fronts. And we've had a discussion before about the fact that whole closing of cops' files from one thing, that's bogus. That shouldn't, that's one of the first things in police reform that they need to do. But whatever you did on the job is record, should be public record. It should be something that if you go on, especially if you leaving from one place, going to another, that they should be able to find that in your record. The fact that shit is sealed don't make no sense. But how the hell you gonna tell me they can't quit? And then if they do quit, we can't use that stuff? You got to explain that again, because that don't make no sense.
I'm saying right now the process is they can quit. Once you quit, it closes. They should not let them quit until once the investigation starts, let them quit, because now the investigation has started while they're cops. But if I know it's kind of like when they tell you can quit, if you know you've been smoking weed and they tell you finna take a weed test, if you know you've been smoking, they give you the drug test, go on and quit. See, now you ain't never flunked the drug test. That should not be allowed. But right now it is. So I'm gonna tell you I could cheat the system. Let's just say I went out and smoked weed yesterday. And then they hit me with Mr. Bear, come in and do this piss test. Well, you know what? I think I want to quit. So I quit. I wait 3 days, drink some of that stuff from that gold and whatever, come back and say, hey, man, I changed my mind. Now I can pee and pass. But it ain't the first refusal ain't in there because I quit before it became official. And that's how cops can cheat the system, because it's their form. And that's why we as a people have got to stop saying, fire them. No, make them go through the process. Because in reality, when you understand how the grand jury system works, if the grand jury indicts you, Roy, as a private citizen, you have no right to be there. As a cop, I have a right to be there because that's the way it's set up. This is just one of those little caveat things. But we got to understand what it is that's going on. The things that, like I said, the being chumps and all these activists never tell us. They just want us to be upset. But we don't know what we're upset about. And when we don't get the desired result, because we don't know what to expect, we get more frustrated with the system when nobody's telling us how the system actually works or what we're doing wrong. Like I said, and I think you remember when the people from Atlanta got fired, I said that was a mistake. Even though what they did looked bad, once you denied them the right to have an investigation, you can't even go back and do an investigation now, because now you're finna hit double jeopardy. And because of the way you did it, notice who was quick to pick up the case? Nobody. Because you denied them everything, and cops got an extra layer, like it or not, they got an extra layer of protection. And no matter how you feel about it, it's deserved. They have to make too many split second decisions, life or death. And unfortunately, sometimes they get it wrong, but you got to judge what it is they're trying to do, what they saw at that time, not what you see in the comfort of your home. And I give the example that, I went to a house one time where a mother called, her son was having a moment, a bipolar moment, and he was suicidal, but he was more homicidal. He running around with a knife. Well, we was cool as long as I kept distance between us, because I believe if you go stab your mama, you'll stab me. and I was a little stupid at the time, and I had an S on my chest. I knew how to do certain things, so I never shot him, even though the book says I should shoot him. But I've had training in dealing with people who have special situations, so you learn a little bit different. One of the things that I tell y'all about these cops they send out now, they'll send me to deal with mentally handicapped people. I go to a class. I got this down. I done went to the 40-hour class. I done went to the 80-hour class. Then guess what happens to me? They promote me to a desk job where all the special people, all the people who they want to have all the credentials, they sit in an office. But when Omega call and need a cop who got these special credentials, ain't none of the street officers got them because they was too busy sending them to command staff who ain't gonna never hit the street. So now Omega get caught in a bad situation with an untrained cop, and Omega mad at the cop. Omega don't know he should be mad at the system or the sheriff or the police chief because they put the citizens in a position to lose. Oh, well, we train people. Who'd you train? Oh, we trained everybody on the command staff. All command staff do is go to meetings. Don't none of them patrol. How many patrolmen have you trained? Oh, well, we're gonna get around to them. We don't have the budget for it now. And so we inadvertently get upset with the wrong group of people because we don't know, because these activists, these attorneys, these pastors, none of us tell us who to go to for our frustration and figure out why they can't do it. You know, everybody come to the churches when it's time to vote, but after the vote, they don't come back and explain nothing. Omega, you got a question for me? You sitting back there looking. Give me something, bro.
I would just say I am not pro-police or or pro-military. I am pro-black though. I guess if it was any question I had to ask you, I'm curious if you having the training dealing with mentally challenged people, the situation that you were talking, because I believe there was a story made national news about a black man whose mother called for him. He was having a manic episode.
Right.
And I think he had a screwdriver maybe, and he ended up getting shot. My just question for you, just so everyone can hear it and so we can at least, hear the right way to go about it. How did you deal with the situation with the young man?
Well, and see, that's the thing. I was an overachiever. I went to the class, so I got that. And what I want people to understand is the agencies have to know who they got on task. There have been times with the sheriff's department when something has happened and they have specifically sent me because of my training. They didn't just, another officer went, but they made sure my number was 6'6". They was like 6'6", head that way, because somebody who is experienced in that needs to go to it, as opposed to just sending all the new people who don't have that experience. And that's what we got to hold our leaders more responsible. You can think what you want that I should know, but that don't make it a fact. The fact is, I'm new at the academy. Hell, my clothes still got creases in them. My boots still got a shine to them. How much is it you think I can handle in a true controversy? Because the academy is a clean event. There's nothing life-threatening about it. You got instructors there. I can push you, but I'm an instructor at the end of the day. Your life ain't never in jeopardy. And I'm going to give my man Robert on here. I'm going to let him introduce himself in a minute. I'm going to use Robert as an example. Me and Robert, we played football for the same little neighborhood. Technically, it was a hood. And one night, two my coworkers went to where, and I don't know if Robert lived there or not, but they went to Bankhead Court. And if you know anything about Bankhead Court, they like to party. But when they party, it's a whole neighborhood thing. So it's 1 o'clock in the morning. They out there having a party. I mean, we talking a big ass party. They got stuff blocked off. Two of my coworkers went down there and wanted them to stop the party. Well, you figure now, you got two sheriffs, they just happen to be white, trying to stop 300 people from having a party. And one of them reached for his gun and said what he was going to do. And this is where I tell people they don't understand. We can joke about this, how Robert them treat me and how much respect they give me. Them boys didn't do nothing. All they did was move their cars and block the sheriff in, so he couldn't get out the car no more. So he called for help because he couldn't get out. Didn't nobody bought. They kept partying. So I'm at a part-time job, and they called me and they said, "Hey, we need you to go to Bankhead Court." And I'm like, I'm working a part-time job. I ain't even on the clock. They like, "Yeah, we got a situation that we think that you can handle." I'm like, "What?" Because I'm getting paid $50 an hour now. I ain't trying to deal with them boys. That's the reason I missed the party. And so they called me on my phone and told me. I go over there and I meet some people. And hey, I didn't even know them, but they knew me from playing football. And they like, "Hey man, what's up?" I said, "What's going on with my partners down?" They like, "Hey man, he came in here trying to start shit, trying to shut the party down." I was like, "It's 300 and something of y'all. How he?" So I said, "Dude, what's the problem?" He said, "Man, they can't be having a party this late." I said, "Dude, you realize how many of y'all it is, right? It's just 2 of y'all. Do some quick math. Was this party worth your life?" Because I guarantee you, all these boys are well armed. They well armed. They just like me. So I ain't sweating it. And, we had a little conversation. My boys treated me like Moses. They parted the Red Sea and let the sheriffs lead. But that's one of them things where they believed in their uniform more than they believed in common sense. That was on them. That wasn't on the department. When you got idiots like that, they need to go. But you can't expect everybody to know the same thing, because it's not. But you need to know who to fuss at, because the officer should get in trouble for certain stuff, but you cannot dismiss the department. When we talk about Minnesota and the whole George Floyd thing, I don't know if y'all remember, and I told y'all this then, what he did, because I looked at Minnesota policy and procedure book, everything he did was by the book, by their policy. Not to mention, he was a training officer. And he got promoted under this same chief who was talking about, "Oh, I can't believe this happened." Dude, it happened. And then it turned around and happened again. After he did all that crying and kumbaya, it happened again. What, Minnesota just had a shoot, 2 or 3 months ago? Same police chief. He ain't doing shit, but he's sitting back. And I hate to use this word, but he's simping for the black people. He's sitting there crying with you, holding hands, want to march with you, but he ain't changed not one policy. He ain't changed not one program. So when the cops come out and do something, Minnesota specific policy specifically said they could put their knee on your neck and on your back.
For how long though?
It don't matter. Don't no other place allow that. Rob, when I teach people use of force, the only time I can ever put my knee on your neck is never. Never. It's too easy to cripple you. It's way too easy to strangle you from that. Period. So it's never taught. The minute I see a video and I see it, you're dead wrong if you're in the state of Georgia. I don't care what the situation was. You could have just about killed that man, Robert. If his knee is on your neck, boom, he wrong. But in Minnesota,
I guess they assume cops got common sense to know that it's a certain amount of time you got to keep that knee on his neck.
No, you don't have a certain amount of time.
But what's the humanity in? I mean, that's what I hate about cops. You're out there in these streets, you act like you have no humanity. It's like the little 9-year-old girl. They maced a 9-year-old girl.
I know, Rob.
Where's the humanity at, man?
Let me just say this first of all, Robert. When you say cops should have common sense, anybody who volunteered to wear polyester and get shot at for less than $100,000, you already know they ain't got common sense. So that shouldn't even be part of the equation. You getting shot at for less than 6 figures, and a lot of times you getting shot at for less than 50 grand. So quit thinking they got good sense, because they don't. And that's why for those of us who do it because we want to, it's a calling. It ain't about the money. But you got to understand, when they change the system, now to be a cop, you got to have a college degree. When I was a cop, you had to have customer service experience. One sounds good, one is really good, because a clerk at racetrack can handle situations much better than a college graduate, because she used to being yelled at, she used to dealing with rude people. She got skills that she's learned through trial and error that she didn't read about. I ain't knocking college kids. I ain't gonna never do that. Well, yes, I will. But having a college degree does not make you a good people person. It means you know how to read book and take tests. Being a police is not about reading book and taking tests. But as I was saying, when you look at, I was telling Trina, you look at what some policies say. A lot of agencies got a policy that say, if I tell you to do something you refuse, that I can pepper spray you, period. It don't say nothing else in between. It don't say try to talk to you. And some people take that literally. That's why when we trying to affect change, we start talking about reform and training, we got to look at the training manuals and what they're being taught. When attorneys call me and say, hey, Bill, I got a case. I need you to look at this. And the first thing is, they be like, I want you to talk to somebody. And I was like, I don't want to talk to nobody. I want to see their training folder. Let me see what they've been trained for first, and let me see who trained them, because that's going to tell me more than anything else. That's what I say. When I saw the stuff from Minnesota, the first thing I did was go to their policies and procedures. And I said, this is what their policy says. Oh, it's still wrong. And it may be wrong. But being Trump, their police chief, and nobody ever said anything was wrong with their policy. Then all of a sudden you start seeing people say, oh, we've taken this out the policy. New York took it out the policy. Minnesota took it out the policy. Minneapolis took it out. How did it even get in the policy in the first place? You could put your knee on somebody's neck. Somebody looked over it.
Is it possible for the average student to, average citizen to look up the policies and procedures in their local jurisdiction?
Absolutely. It's public record. They just don't know because nobody ever tells them.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I didn't know that myself. So let us know, like, where will we go? Will we go to our local government page or the police department? Like, how would, like, say, if I wanted to know what my rights are when the police pulls me over, what he cannot do, can he pepper spray me, can he put his knee on my back or not, where would I go to get that information?
Okay, now don't get your rights confused with the policy. Your rights, you can pretty much look in, you can get a criminal code book to see what your rights are. To find out what their policies are, you just have to do an open records request for their policy and procedure. And that's where the disconnect lies, because they never tell us this. So you get mad at somebody. And like I said, Rob, you missed the part. We talked about Atlanta. You know, they just hired them police officers back who tased the girl who tased them college kids. And it's quiet. And remember, I told y'all, they got their back pay. They gonna sue. And they can't be touched. So the next time they do something wrong, they're gonna holler retaliation. And that's how people mess up the system, by responding too quickly. Take your time, let them get that administrative leave, do the proper investigation, and then go after them. But make sure they can't quit. There needs to be a police registry for all officers, period. And there needs to be something that says how you left the department. And even like with, I don't know what the new sheriff can do, because we just got a new sheriff. But if you got in trouble with Fulton County, you always were offered the choice to resign in lieu of. And I know 3 people who resigned and went on to other agencies and caused problems.
But listen. Here's the thing about that case you're talking about. I think she had to act quick, and I'm gonna tell you why. She would have suffered more with the outrage that would have happened if she didn't. She made a smart move. You know what I'm saying? She don't care nothing about those guys being hired back. It's not coming out her pocket.
You're right. It's coming out your pocket.
But she don't care. Her job was to make sure the city was safe.
No, sir.
So what she did, she fired those cops to keep people from going crazy about that.
No, sir.
You know what thing to do,
Robert? You know what her job is?
And I think they should have been fired anyway. So
you're right, but you cost them money. So when your taxes go up and you don't get no production, everybody complain, where my money going? And understand, her job is, she's the mayor. You know what her job is? To make sure she has a competent police chief. Had she done that, and that's who got to get done. You can replace police officers every day. That's why we got so many shitty ones. You fire one shitty police officer, guess what? They hire 2 more shitty police officers. But guess who's still there? That shitty supervisor, that shitty manager, that shitty sheriff or police chief, because they ain't changed nothing. If you want to affect change, how many resident managers do you got to have before your department comes back?
The policies aren't the problem. The problem is the people, the mentalities of the cops whose job it is to carry out the policy.
So Robert,
you have a thing.
Robert, who oversees these people? Who oversees these people, Robert? Everybody got somebody to answer to.
How long has that policy, the knee on the neck policy, been in place?
Probably 30 years.
How many people been killed by that policy?
Well, and you look now, the guy who
nobody has been killed.
The George Floyd guy.
So that lets you know it's not the policy, it's the person carrying out the policy, man.
How you gonna ask me a question you won't let me answer?
He know doggone well he was doing it too long.
Robert, he had 20 complaints. 5 people had went to the hospital. So with all the wrong he was doing, Robert, with all those complaints, guess what they did? They promoted him to training officer. So what was he doing wrong in his mind? What was he doing wrong, Robert? They promoted him for doing this. They promoted him. And that's why we can sit here and say this, Robert, but I looked at his stuff. You can look it up. He had He had 20-something complaints. 5 people went to the hospital from this same neck maneuver. They made him a training officer. So what can you tell him he was doing wrong?
So what is it? So you tell me, what did he do wrong? You say the policy is a good policy,
right? So
why is he in so much trouble for killing the man?
What trouble
he was
in,
doing what he was supposed to do, right?
That man ain't gonna do a lick of time.
And that's why he ain't gonna get in trouble, Robert. Everybody raising hell. Everybody raising hell, but he stuck with the policy. So, and again, the same police chief was there, and it happened again. So, what's the common denominator, Robert? So we can keep looking at him, but he training people. When you're a trainer, guess how many people you affect? You affect all the new people. So all the new people learn this same shit, and when they say, "Well, I don't think this is a good move," and he gonna say, "Guess what? Well, I done did this. I done got complained on, and I got promoted." So he's showing his good behavior, Robert. It ain't no different than being in a relationship. I'm gonna get you.
I understand you got a cop mentality.
No, Robert.
That's how y'all do it. Y'all hide behind the policy.
Robert, how am I hiding when I'm telling you? See, that's the problem. People, when I'm telling you,
you're giving him a pass because of the policy.
I ain't gave him a pass.
The policy don't give him the pass to kill somebody.
No, Robert. Whoever let the policy come through, Robert. So you
the
not even
policy is not the problem,
Robert.
The policy wasn't the problem,
Robert. If you let your kids steal at home and they go steal somewhere else, who's the problem? The kid or the parent? The parent, because the parent is the one promoting that bad behavior.
No. Look, you know where I come from. You know what kind of parents I had, but I still stole. That wasn't my mama's fault.
That's not what he's saying. He's saying if your parents let you steal,
then
you go out and steal.
If they keep
that's your parents' fault because they instilled that in you. What he's saying is the cop himself, whether the cop think he wrong or not, the people in charge is telling that cop, put your knee on niggas' necks, and I'm gonna give you a promotion. That's what he's saying. So it don't matter. Even if that cop himself, that's another thing I seen. One cop refused to shoot somebody and got fired. So the policy do matter, because if the policy say I need to put my knee on this black man's neck and I don't do that, I'm getting fired. So that's what he's saying. He's not necessarily saying, he's not giving the cop a pass per se. He just simply saying
I don't think the policy you have to put your knee on his neck. I think the policy it gives you another option. That was an option he used.
So then it sounds like you want to change the policy too then. It seems like you want to change the policy. You want to make it so that there's other options than putting a knee on the neck.
Right. Then you're going to kill him another way.
I agree.
The guy in New York, they choked him to death.
And that was illegal. Remember they got in trouble. They can't.
Was that a policy though?
And again,
some folks have a chokehold policy. But
you're right.
It's meant to subdue a suspect, not to kill him.
Robert, anytime you cut off somebody's ear, you ain't trying to subdue them. This ain't MMA. That's why so many states have outlawed the LVN. That's what it's called, the lateral vascular neck restraint. When you cut this off, you are telling people to black out. And unless these are trained fighters, which none of them are, Robert, you are promoting something that they're not capable of. And if you promote them for that, you instill that bad behavior. Robert, if you got a girlfriend and you cheat on her and she come back and have sex with you, she told you it's okay to cheat because she gonna keep having sex with you. There's no punishment. We are victims. We learn lessons when people take something from us. If they promote us, what do you learn? What do you learn when you do something bad and somebody hug you and kiss you and give you $20? You don't learn nothing other than, hey, this is what I should do. Bad shit. Why don't people commit crime overseas? That little girl who snuck out in the wherever she snuck out from, the little white girl who snuck out to be with her friend and got that lockdown. Guess what? She ain't doing shit else because she got punished. She ain't get a reward system. They didn't say, okay, we're going to forgive you this time. They threatened to lock her ass up and they locked her down, and she couldn't wait to get back home because she didn't want that. So when we sit here talking about it, Robert, if the people in charge that you get away with something and they give you a pat on the back, you ain't learned no lesson. And if you don't do it, and I ain't saying that there ain't shit officers, because there are, and that's what I'm saying. You got to know the difference when it's a shitty officer versus a shitty policy or a shitty administration that's promoting this. Because again, Minnesota just had it happen again. This ain't the second time it's happened under this chief. So they keep getting officers, but they leaving the head there. How do you fix something? You got to cut the head off and get a whole new mentality in there. When we changed sheriffs, you had a whole different mentality because it wasn't one of do this or do that. And that's what people have to understand. You got to change the culture. The culture ain't gonna never come from a line officer. We can get killed. Guess what? They're gonna replace us with somebody else. But until you fix these people whose job it is to overlook these policies, to make sure that they're right, to make sure that they're constitutionally accurate. Because a line officer can't do that.
Right. So
the chief can do that. The major can do that. I can't change no policy. You saw, and you ain't here, Omega, but you saw the story on the news the other day where the sheriff's department going to this lady's house for 3 years and her son is in another prison. And on one of the clips, they tell him, "Man, you got to let me in. I'm gonna lock you up for not letting you search." And this goes to your question, Omega. A cop with a warrant for your arrest ain't allowed to search shit. Never ever. I don't care what he tell you. It's all a lie. Listen, if I got an arrest warrant for Omega Black, and I knock on Lyle's door and I say, "Hey, sir, my name is Sheriff Bell. I'm here with a warrant for Omega Black. Sir, what's your name?" And Lyle say, "What's your name, Lyle?"
Lyle Moore.
I say, "Well, do you know Omega Black?" And he says, "No." "Well, can I come in and search?"
Hell no.
No.
"Well, if you don't let me search, I'm gonna lock you up." See, right then I violated the law. Because I have an arrest warrant. An arrest warrant means I can arrest you wherever I see you, not wherever I think you may be. I have to see you. Now, if I got a search warrant, when I knock on his door with a search warrant, guess what ain't going to happen? First of all, I'm not going to ask him, "Can I come in?" I'm going to say, "Hey, sir, Sheriff Bell with the Fulton County Sheriff, I got a search warrant. I'm looking for Omega Black. Step to the side, please." That's it, because I don't need his permission for nothing. And that's when you start having bad officers, when they start telling you stuff that's illegal and you don't know better, because it ain't your job to know the law. See, so it's like when I did the show about frisking and searching. A frisk is when I touch your outer garments to see if you got a weapon.
Right. They can't put your hands in your pockets.
But you know what the law is for frisking? Most of us don't. When can an officer frisk you?
I know where I'm at as soon as they first, when they first talk to you.
Yeah, like anytime you feel like it.
No, the law is clear. He can only frisk you under two circumstances. They got to be at the same time. He has to believe that you're armed, and he has to believe that you're involved in a crime. So when he walk up to you, he should already be accusing you of something.
No, they say you might be in this area, and we got an anonymous tip, and we just want to, and for our safety, we just want to make sure that you're not carrying no weapons and shit like that. I tell me where it's right or wrong, so I will know, because there's a whole lot of these fucking questions I don't know.
And but I'm saying
that's how it is in my state too. In my state, if you have if you stand there and talk to the police, they can search you, well, pat you down to make sure you don't have a weapon. But like, let's say, I'm gonna give you an example because this actually happened before. They can pat you down. They're patting you down, looking for sharp objects, a gun, things like that. But if they feel like, let's say a baggie, like let's say you got a bag of weed in your pocket, they cannot reach in your pocket and pull that weed out. They can only grab something that they consider as a weapon when they talking to you. That's how it is in Virginia.
What you say,
and I'm telling you, this is what they tell you. If you file a complaint, this is federal. This is every state in the union. A cop can never ever frisk you for his safety to make sure you ain't armed. You know why? What's the second?
What you see on all the show, on all the, they ain't talking about shows, but the videos.
Okay,
that's what they say. That's what they use.
If I can convince you not to file a complaint, guess what? I just won. I'm telling you now. Because guess what cops do all day, every day? They walk amongst people. I can't just walk up to people and say, "Hey, I'm scared y'all might have a gun. Let me pat you down." They spend their whole day patting people down. They don't do that.
No, so, but once they profile, as we talk about profiles, pick you out of whatever you're in, just listen to me, and pick you out from whatever area you're in and you look suspicious. So that's when they feel like it. Sometimes when you make a generalization, no, they ain't gonna search everybody, but they fucking feel like it.
Right. But again,
what good is your complaint gonna do?
Right.
And see, and that's how they got us.
You just talked about the guy with 20 complaints. Nothing happened to him. So why would people keep complaining against him and nothing happened?
So if you ain't gonna complain, then don't worry about it.
Man, it's a system, man.
No. Again, look at Rob. You live here. Look at DeKalb County. How did that officer get arrested that was killing homeless people in shit? What's the county past DeKalb, Roy? In
Clayton.
No, not Clayton.
The cop.
Henry.
Shit. Anyway, because the woman called and complained See, so when you complain, and this is what people got to understand, your complaint needs to be not emotional based, because there are good people in it, but too many times people believe if they complain on police, won't nothing happen. And that's the fallacy. Now, it's like anything else. You're right. Something may not happen the first time, but most of these cops who getting convicted, getting arrested, it ain't coming from police telling, because we don't know. It's coming from people who file complaints, and then they get a good officer go out there and investigate. The 2 officers who I testified against, I got legitimate complaints from people that were not emotional based. So I had facts to go on, not how somebody feel. Oh, I don't like the way he talked to me. That's a feeling. What did they do that was illegal? What Lyle just said, he said I look like somebody, he wanted to pat me down. No, I'm telling you what the law says in every 50 states. In order for me to put my hands on you to see if you got a weapon, I got to already believe that you're armed, and I got to believe that you are part of a crime. If I don't have that, see, as soon as they say, can I pat you down? Ask him why. If he says for my safety or his, tell him to get back in the car. He don't have that right.
They don't do that, D. Come on.
Hey, that shit don't work, man.
But see, here
he try to get us with a knee on our neck doing that shit.
But see, and this is what people say, what won't work. But have you tried it? Because see, something that we hate is we hate when we think people know more than we know. Because now we don't know who they know, who been giving you this information. We want you to believe what you see on TV. We want you to believe what you see on. We want you to believe what you see on this dumbass cop show, because they're giving you sensationalism. But when you do this, because these are federal violations, so it ain't even if your department. Because see, when I had one, I told a girl one time, I keep one of my phones over my visor. Every time I'm pulled over, I hit that record button. I don't have the phone because I done told y'all I can show y'all phones that are guns. So we filming all, we recording all this, that way if they do something wrong, if they snatch the phone, guess what? The recording go to my cloud. I can use it later. But I'm not going to sit there and keep being violated. And this is all it takes, is for us to be educated. We'll fuss about everything. We'll say what somebody told us. But like I had to tell some of Robert people, you're going to tell me what somebody told you when I'm the cop, and I can show you and show you the code section where this is illegal. So when you file your complaint, you can say, hey, your officer violated code 3-7. Guess what they're going to do? They ain't going to blow you off now. But when you call saying, oh, he talked to me all kind of way, he called me out my names, yeah, they're going to blow them off because you ain't giving them nothing.
I think that everybody is on a good page. I think that valuable information that you're giving us, D, that we don't really fucking know. So trust, we are listening. When we say we ain't gonna do nothing, that's our first thought. But us as educated brothers know that it has to go a step further, and that we have to do those things and follow up. Also, it's more than one thing. You have to get out those police chiefs, but then, like my man said, it's bad cops too. They should be making certain judgments and things like that off of what you say they don't have common sense. But come on, that motherfucker knew he knew. But if they get away with it for so long, that's where the chiefs and the other things. So that's why I think we all know that it's important to vote for other than just the fucking president and vice president, but we got to do those other local elections and things like that we always talk about on this show. So I think we bringing up some valuable points, but where we was getting in going at it was acting like it was only one thing. It's just administration or it's just dumbass cops. No, it's a little bit of both, and we got to learn to attack all of it. So it's no right or wrong. It's a little bit of all of it. It's more than one factor to this shit.
Rob, let me ask you a question. What Pac-Man and Reebok at? What Pac-Man and Reebok at, Robert?
I don't know what it is. They destroyed a lot of lives though.
They in prison.
Yeah, how many people still in prison because of what they did?
But why are they in prison, Robert? Because somebody came and told on them. Everybody else kept saying, oh, if you tell ain't nothing gonna happen. And if that's the mentality that we take, then we're gonna be forever victims. See, that's on us. At some point, you gotta stand up. At some point, you gotta do this.
But how many complaints did they have, man, before they eventually caught up to them?
I would say probably not many, because too many people have your mentality where ain't nothing gonna happen. And this is the thing, because and that's why when people say, oh, people see this all the time.
They weren't involved with the lady who got shot over there, killed the old lady, right?
On Neal Street? No, that wasn't them.
They weren't involved in that.
These are two cops y'all talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
They street names was Pac-Man and Reebok. Even with the Neal Street killing, which people say, oh, Cause that was in the hood. That was an old lady. Them folk didn't know no better. But see, that was a good one. Cause guess what? I had some meeting with judges about this, because now it's come to light, because too many people were just accepting whatever cops told them to further. Cause yeah, I'm gonna pull Omega over and I'm gonna take his money. If you tell anybody, I know where you live. If I scare Omega and believe in that, guess what? I just got away with it. It don't make it right. It just means I got Omega to believe it. So once he believes it, that's on him. And people will keep saying, oh, well, D, why you ain't do something? Well, until Omega tell me, I don't know. I can't tell Omega what to do. That's why when I let people give me scenarios, I can sit there and tell them. When I hear these people, well, when the cop shot, the cop who shot the boy in the back 7 times. See, now I'm a use of force instructor. Now, let's just say, for shits and giggles, he did have a knife. We ain't even gonna argue this point, okay? We're gonna act like he had the knife when he went to the car, which he did, but we're gonna act like he did. When I got a knife in my hand and I'm going this way and you that way, you can't tell me I'm no kind of threat to you. The kids over there, so I ain't even a threat to them. So tell me how you got to shoot me in the back. Because even the policy for me to shoot you, it's clear in all 50 states. You got to be an immediate threat to somebody right then. Not that you may be in the future. You got to be a threat right then. If I could arrest people for future shit, I'm going to go to Omega house and arrest Omega right now. Because Omega, hold up your bottle again, Omega. Omega got a bottle. He may go out and drive drunk. So won't I just arrest him now to stop him? That's not what the law allows me to do. I can't act on what a future might hold. He got to be doing something right now. And people get caught up in this because an officer will tell them this and they believe it. But it's a bunch of good officers and we wait for people to tell us stuff so we can act on. Like I said, I get calls all the time telling me somebody said something nasty. Okay, he called your name. He called your name. Ain't nothing gonna, realistic, ain't nothing gonna happen. He use an Omega scenario. A guy got stopped. Asked for his ID, which is it legal? It's legal to ask for it.
You sense a lot of good cops out there, but just like Dr. King said, your silence is as deadly as the perpetrator committing the crime.
Robert,
it's been plenty of times, like you said from Bankhead. It was like 2. You always got the red dog roll through. They might be like 7 deep, 2 cars, 7 deep. It's only 2. It's 2 knuckleheads. They finna harass. They finna plant dope. And the good cops standing back watching.
Robert, there's no such thing.
They know it's illegal. They know it's illegal, but they ain't doing a damn thing to stop it. They ain't saying nothing, but because they protecting the bags.
But Robert,
exactly.
Listen,
but he just
Robert,
said it's a good cop. I'm trying to prove him. Ain't no such thing as a good cop.
Listen to what you just said.
Ain't no good cop and you're gonna be silent.
Listen to what you just said. A cop sat there and watched something bad happen. You call him a good cop. See, you confused on what a good cop is. Ain't no good cop gonna sit back and let shit happen, Robert. That's just like me saying, "Oh, I'm a good friend because I sat back and watched Omega jump on his girlfriend." I can't be no good dude if I sit back and I don't do nothing. So your idea of a good cop is totally screwed up. So let's talk about bad citizens, because citizens will film everything, but when it's time to say something, don't nobody want to say nothing because let's take Red Dog.
See, now you blaming the citizen. Now you back on the you blaming the citizen
because you
playing tit for tat. You know
okay, Robert. Every time you saw me in my uniform, who did you ever see with me? Nobody. So anything I would have did, who could have told on me, Robert? Because you trying to say all cops ride 2 together and they see each other. Most people, if 2 of them get pulled over, there's no such thing as a good cop and bad cop. If you with a bad cop and you watch shit happen, you are a bad cop too. If I'm a good dude and I sit back and watch one of y'all hit another woman, I lose my good dude status. There is no good cop who sit back and watch. But guess what? Bad cops are just like that pedophile uncle. They're not going to do shit in front of nobody who they know going to do something. The cops I testified against, I never saw them do anything. What I did was when I got that phone call and they gave me some information, I did some research and got a file on them. But had I ever seen it? No, they didn't even like me. They wouldn't even talk to me. But a citizen told me what to look for. So when I look for it, I could piece all of it together and make a criminal case. I called the GBI from that point on. But people say, Oh, well, you saw, I ain't seen shit. Ain't nobody who was around me can tell you they saw me with a bunch of cops. Pac-Man and Reebok, who was ever with them? Nobody. They did their shit by themselves. And people keep acting like it's such a widespread event. But that's why you don't see cops go down in groups of 2s and 3s a lot of times, because it ain't like that unless you get a unit like Red Dog. And what happened to Red Dog? They disbanded them and brought them back together. They don't look nothing like the other crew. They don't even do the same stuff. You know why? Because people start complaining. Because Red Dog, and again, Omega, you don't live in Georgia. Atlanta used to have several laws that were all illegal to us. But guess what? The people of Atlanta didn't complain about them. Atlanta had a law that says 4 more people who, after 10 o'clock, if y'all dressed in the same colors, y'all are a gang. So in theory, they could arrest 4 Burger King workers after 10 o'clock and charge them with being a gang because they had a disorderly conduct that let them do that. Atlanta had a law that says if you stand in Atlanta Housing Authority, you have to carry ID on you. There is nothing that says you ever have to have ID on you just to walk the street. To drive a motor vehicle on a city street, yes, you need ID. But to walk a city street, you don't need ID unless you're in the city of Atlanta. This wasn't nowhere else in the state, but nobody from Atlanta ever complained about these things. So who am I to say, hey, you ain't got to show these people your ID. You know that's illegal. They can't make you prove you poor because there's a such thing as Atlanta Housing Authority ID. But this is where we get into it. And don't get me wrong, again, I ain't gonna say there ain't bad cops. There are some shitty bad cops, and the good cops are not around them because they make sure they do stuff with people who they can get away with it with.
Let me ask you a question, D.
Ask me a question there, sir.
Do you believe that there are good Crips and good Bloods?
Absolutely.
All right. So in that aspect, then I will say it is possible for it to be a good cop. Possible for there to be a good cop. But the way I look at it is, I don't believe that. Let's just say I'm a Blood member, right? I'm not literally, but let's just say I'm in the Blood. All right. In my neighborhood, my gang is known for robbing people and selling dope. Mind you, I ain't never robbed nobody. I ain't never sold no dope. These dudes don't even have me around when they robbing people because they know I ain't with it. I am still a Blood member. I still put on that red bandana and that red hat and let the red rag fly. So then I'm a part of this organization, and they are fucked up people. So the way I look at it with cops, okay, great. You as a cop didn't watch nobody do nothing fucked up. Great. You as a cop ain't never put your knee on nobody's neck. Great. You as a cop ain't never shot nobody in the back. But my nigga, you put on the blue shirt and the badge, you are in a gang, and your gang is known for shooting people that look like me. So for me, that's why I say it ain't no good cops, because I don't look at it as, I'm sorry, for people that don't know, the original gang history, the Pyrus and the Bloods, they were community activists.
Right.
As soon as that gang no longer became community activists, they fucked up, period. When you selling drugs to kids, you fucked up. When you robbing and you know, recruiting out of elementary schools, you fucked up, period. Now, that's what the gang is about. Now, there are some people, you know, even Tukey before he died, and a couple other people, Chick, Wolf, in the gang community that's trying to turn it around and make it positive. But until it becomes positive, being in this gang makes you a fucked up person, even though you ain't never, because what I hear when I hear it's a good cops, and they wasn't around, I hear Donald Trump saying, it's good people on both sides. I don't believe that. Now, if you on that side, fuck you and that side. That's how I go, though. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So for me, if you put on a blue uniform and a badge every morning, if I see you in that, bro, you on the other side. You in another gang, I don't fuck with you. Now, you take that badge off, come on, we can have a drink, we can smoke, we could do any of that. You understand what I'm saying? But while you got that uniform on, you part of a gang. You guilty by association, exactly.
That's all it is, though.
And in that aspect, you're right. Because remember now, I told y'all, and I ain't had no shame about it. I came from a drug dealing community where I was one of them. One of my bestest people who I will always have mad respect for. When I left to go to the military and came back, he was still doing the same thing. We had one of them crazy Ice-T Denzel Washington packs. We played basketball. That was our neutral spot. He didn't come to my house. I didn't go to his house. But when we played basketball, there was nothing to be done. I wasn't going to be a cop. He wasn't going to be a drug dealer. When he had some of his boys come there to try to make an exchange, he ran them off. That was our mutual respect code. Because at that point, there's certain things you can't do around me. Because, and I hear what you're saying, but no matter what profession you look at, you're going to always find shitty people. So you can't make the whole race of humans be shitty. You can find shitty pastors. Does that mean all of them shitty? You can find shitty doctors. That mean all of them shitty. Some people are there, and once they find their footing, and don't get me wrong, I ain't no great dude. But when I saw how it was affecting us and how I could educate my people to understand this system, that's the reason I never left, because now I can affect change. When you tell me something, I can go look at your file to see. Hell, I have told people, hey man, what you did is wrong. You going to jail. I can't even get you around this. But now I can give you some informed information. I ain't telling you what I feel or what I think or telling you what's messed up. I can quote you now where to go look for it. When people call me for something as simple as child support, and I educate dudes on getting their kids legitimized, because that was something most of us never heard of. Nobody ever talked to us about that. And when we got all these activists and preachers and whatever, they never tell us how to work the system for us. So all I'm sitting here doing is saying this is how we can work and make it. It ain't gonna happen overnight, but for every Omega, for every Robert, for every Lyle who don't, and I'm just picking you, Lyle, who don't like cops, but you gotta admit you like me, and I'm still a cop. Well, I'm retired now, so I ain't one. Because
hey man, you put that uniform on, we beefing, bro.
But
if
we
you'd have came on this live right now, if you'd have put your uniform on and got on this camera, hey man, we have different conversations. I'm just being honest, because you in the other gang, you on the other side. Your people shoot my people. I can't rock with you when you. It's the same way. Look, if I'm a blood member,
Omega, Omega, it's the person in the uniform though. You can't just say,
so what's the difference between that?
You just said as soon as you put on that uniform, it's a different situation. It don't change that it's D though.
All right, so then what's the difference? So what's the difference in what you just said? I'm not even arguing now. I'm gonna give you that. It's not the uniform, it's the person in the uniform. All right. So what is wrong with President Trump saying it's good people on both sides? Explain that to me.
I'm gonna say on his side, but there are some good white people, but I ain't gonna say on his side.
But and this is how I'm explaining it to you. What's the difference is what did he do positive? See, he ain't trying to make no change. He was trying to justify his people doing something. And all I ain't trying to justify my people. That's why I'm proud of the fact I testified against 2 cops. But I'm gonna tell you the difference in what you said. Guess who joined the police department? Crips and Bloods, so they could further their drug trade. The Klan, so they could further whatever they doing.
Sound like a fucked up organization to me.
Right. But guess who won't join to help their race out? See, so we could join and start getting in positions of power, and we can help our own people out. So if we always talking about making a change, but we ain't gonna do nothing to do it, what makes us rise up? Because you can't make change from the bleachers. Robert, you're a football player. What can you do about a sorry team if you over there sitting in the bleachers? You saying rah 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 don't make them no better. So if you want to affect change, you gotta become part of it. And you know what? We fight each other over stepping on my shoes. We fight each other over looking at my girlfriend booty. We fight over this, but we won't fight to bring our people up and educate them to make sure certain stuff don't happen to them.
But we do that.
No, we don't. We don't because we.
No. I'm saying we do fight over shoes.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we do that. We do that. But one thing I think that most people look past is, let's be honest. If we just looking at the brass taxes, right? And we look at it straight for what it is, the police create crime in our neighborhoods. Now, if you don't believe that, then I'll give you the other step.
Give me the other step.
Here go the other step. The most dangerous neighborhoods have the most police presence. And let's say it's been the most police presence in Chicago for how many years? 40 years, 50 years, 100 years? How much safer is Chicago now than it was 100 years ago? Then what police officers are doing in these communities is not helping. If the police been in Harlem for 100 years and Harlem is worse after 100 years, then y'all ain't helping. That's the spirit. That's brass tacks. There ain't no arguing that.
Oh, it is an argument, and I'm gonna give you the argument.
Let me hear it.
Can you prove it? See, because hold on now. we gonna go to Robert right quick.
Okay.
Robert, did you live in Bankhead?
Yeah.
How often did the police patrol over there?
They patrol a lot. They roll through all the time.
They ride through twice an hour.
All the time.
But you didn't never see 7, 8 rolling through unless somebody had called them. Because you know where they at? They somewhere else. See, we patrolling the north side. And see, this is what people don't understand. And again, I ain't making excuses. You know why we on the north side? Because that's where the DUIs come from, and that's where the money is. Because with every DUI, that's $1,000. That's easy money. And guess what? Them drunk white boys is not shooting. So when they go through the neighborhood, you know what they don't want to do? They don't want to get out because they already scared. So people say, oh, why the police ain't never around when we need them? See, that's the common complaint that you hear from the hood, Omega. Why the police ain't never around when we need them? They don't know say
when we need them, not that they're not around.
So if they're around all the
they
time,
around too much.
If they're around too much, then how is it they ain't around when you need them?
See, be around when I call you. I'll give you the answer. When I call you, don't take an hour to get there, but I walk outside and stand on my porch and you drive by twice an hour, like you just said. Then you there when I don't need you.
They ain't there, Omega.
You not there when I need you. You there when you want to get some money off of me. When you want to catch a white boy, before you go get the white boy and get some money off of DUI, you drive through my neighborhood first and see if you can catch me with a little bag of weed in my pocket. I don't need you there. But when I get shot and I call you and it take you 40 minutes to get there, and you don't do no CPR, then you're not here when I need you. That's how I look at it. Y'all ain't here when we call the police. Another complaint is when we in the black community say y'all not here when we need you, is because go to any white community and look how quickly the police get there when they dial 911, and then look how long it takes for them to get there when we dial 911. If I'm trying to rob a house, the police is usually right around the corner. I gotta wait for the police to leave before I rob a house. When my house get robbed and I call, these niggas don't get there for 30, 40 minutes. Come on, man.
So when the lady called 911 about the kidnapped kid, and I get there in 7.5 minutes,
and then pepper spray him or shoot him, and you don't need you.
and I asked everybody what happened, and everybody like, oh, we don't talk to the police. So and see, here we go. See, so people say, why the police so slow? You can't keep hitting them with negatives and think that everybody gonna rush. Because when I went there for this kidnapped kid, ain't my child. It's 35 people there. All they got for me is insults. Ain't nobody seen nothing, and everybody got a cell phone. Ain't nobody seen nothing. A kid is kidnapped. Your issue was with me because I showed up and I care, and then everybody telling me what I ain't gonna do. And you know what? They were right, because there's nothing I can do if everybody want to fuss at me but not give me some details. What cars did y'all see? What was the last thing y'all saw? Don't nobody want to talk to me now. And in the hood, guess how it worked? And we all know the truth from the hood. When your shit get took, don't nobody know nothing. When they shit get took, everybody crying. I know somebody saw something. Ooh, somebody tell me. See, that's us. We can keep trying to throw that on the police as much as we want to. And I'm going to blame the police for what they're responsible for. But at some time, you get tired of getting your head bashed trying to help people who keep throwing negativity at you.
Maybe that's because y'all not helping. Because in order to help somebody, you gotta listen. Listen. One thing I learned young: help is not help if it's not wanted. Okay, so if I don't want you policing my neighborhood for weed smoking, you're not helping me when you do that. If I do want you out here because they shooting, and then it take you 40 minutes, you ain't helping me by getting there in 40 minutes. Help is only help when it's wanted. If I'm in, what the first thing they tell you when somebody drowning in the water, you do not jump in there and swim right up to them and try to help them. You're gonna have to swim underneath them, swim behind them, and grab them from behind and pull them out. Because if they see you helping, they're gonna grab you and pull them under. Okay, this is what's happening. This is what y'all like you said. You went through the counseling in the school to understand that it's a system and it's a process. At the end of the day, when you come out here, I call you I'm gonna use your example. You said somebody get kidnapped. When you get there, don't nobody know nothing, see nothing. Is it possible that when you got there, the first person said, "Hey, it was a red car"? You say, "Hold on, shut up. Who's here? I'm in charge here. Y'all be quiet." Then at that point, ain't nobody talking to you, bro. That's the part y'all be missing. I cannot imagine any situation in any hood where a kid gets kidnapped and then you get to the scene and then nobody parents want to say what they seen. That's not true in the hood. We take care of each other in the hood because that's what we doing when y'all not there. I gotta go to my auntie house and be like, "Auntie, you know somebody who sell bicycles because Ray and Man somebody stole their bike. Where they sell bikes at around here?" I go to my auntie about that. And we're taking care of ourselves in these communities.
And hear what you're saying. Y'all take care of yourselves. If you take care of yourselves, Omega, these boys won't be able to drive through and get them shots off. So we talk a good game. See, hold on now. What people want to do is they want the police when it's convenient for them. But guess what the police are there for? The police are there to enforce the law. If it's illegal to smoke weed, whether you want them there or not, it's just like, and again, I'm gonna pick on Robert. Mm-hmm.
I played on a team full of weed smokers. When we went out of town, guess what? There was a bus for the square. There was a bus for everybody else. I never went to that second bus because I knew what they were doing. And so there wouldn't be no conflict because I wasn't working, but I wasn't a smoker either. So, but you can't sit back and tell the police when you want them. Because
I bet you can.
Hold on.
I bet you can. But go ahead. I'm gonna prove it to you. You can. But go ahead. I'm listening.
You saying something. But when you smoking weed and we come by, guess why? Because that old lady, the old lady from the candy store is the one who called us. So yeah, when we come,
that old lady smoked weed with us. That old lady bought a bag before you came. What you talking about? That old lady smoked more than me.
Let's do the discussion after the break.
All right, let me say this. We're gonna take a break. But see what we're doing is, and this is where I challenge everybody. See, I live both lives. See, so I've been on both sides, so I can give a different perspective. If you've only been on one side, you can tell me what you saw. I can tell you what I had to do because I've called the police, I've had the police called on me, and I've been the police. So I can give you 3 different views. Most of y'all can only give me one. All right, we're gonna take a break and we'll be right back. Do your thing, Roy.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
This is Ryan.
All right, and we back, and we doing what we do. And like I said, I'm trying to keep up with your comments, but some of y'all typing a little bit faster than I can read. So I ain't ignoring you, but I'm trying to I'm trying to make sure me and my guests, like I said, because I picked them for a reason. I ain't saying they hood, but they came from a hood and they know what it's like. And because I can freely admit the black man is probably the most targeted. Because and I'm gonna tell you why. For a lot of different reasons. One is fear. Because you know when I was teaching, and I should have got the thing in Roy where I could fit the description. When we're teaching, and I teach officer survival, and I teach it based on where I am. When I go to Griffin, I don't teach the people in Griffin the same thing I teach in Atlanta. They got a whole different audience. They got a meth crowd out there, which is totally different from hood people. But these are the things that I learned. So sometimes we're most afraid of what we don't know. And what I found for most people, see, if I get Robert to join the sheriff's department, not that he gonna join, but if I got Robert to join, Robert will be comfortable in any hood, because he's just comfortable there. Now, if I send him to a bunch of trash talking, I can't say that word. If I took him to a trailer park, he ain't gonna feel the same level of comfort because this is something that he don't know. It don't mean he gonna be overly aggressive. He just ain't gonna be as comfortable, and that's a lot. That plays a big part to it. I was not a huge fan of this whole college degree stuff because it cut down on me getting people who can relate. See, I could go into our hood and I could sit down and talk to people. I could do that by myself. I would drive through Bankhead Court, and I ain't mean to pick on them, but I would get on my PA and say, "Hey, this Bell, y'all know it's me. I need to do some talking. If y'all thinking about shooting, flash your lights and I'll come back another day. You know, everybody would laugh and chuckle about it. But when they came out, see, that told me it was a peaceful time because I ain't trying to overimpose my will. So once they want to talk, and, you know, one of our teammates called me, he said, man, I got a warrant, what I need to do. I said, give me a couple hours. And I gave him a solution. This is how you can help fix the system and take some of the fear out of it. Because if he would have did what he was thinking about and turned himself in, he wouldn't have got moved to the top of the courthouse. But hey, let me call some people and let me tell you where to go so you can avoid this. This is part of the process of being in there so that we can avoid black men going to jail for simple things. When I talked about some of the police reform and stuff we could do, one of the biggest things I said that we can do at our level is start having community court. So where you live, Omega, where you live, Robert, where you live, Laha, where you live, Roy, we got a community court for people under 21 when they commit crime, vandalism, whatever. Let's work out a system that keep them out of the system first, a payback system and a community service system. Now, if they can't do that, then go ahead and turn them over to the white man. But we shouldn't keep prosecuting people for simple misdemeanors. But we can't just let them get off scot-free because just because some little boy bust Robert window out and it don't meet the statute for federal crime, Robert still want his window replaced.
Right.
He don't want to hear, oh, we sorry, but hey man, it's just a window. You can afford to do it. So we can't negate smaller crimes. We just need a better system for it. That's something that we can start doing as a collective when we start putting our powers together. See, Bankhead Court could have had their own little community court because there was a hierarchy there. Omega, I don't know nothing about where you from, but I'm sure where you from, y'all knew who was running what. Y'all had the elders that y'all respected, that nobody cursed in front of or bothered their house. You let them run stuff and they set up their own thing. This is how we can keep some of them out. And even with this presidential stuff, part of what we need to fix us is to have mental health facilities as well as physical health facilities in our neighborhoods. I mean, we got Grady, but Grady ain't in the hood. Grady's downtown. We need something for mental health that's accessible to us because a lot of us are suffering and don't know it. And when we get these calls about somebody suffering mental health and in a department of 1,000 people, ain't but 6 cops went through it, who do those 6 cops help? If 4 of them are management, they don't do something, and the other 2 are off on the weekends, and you got 3 shifts, and they work day shift. Most mental breakdowns happen after 6 o'clock. You know who work after 6 o'clock? All the new people. So that's a management issue. Even though you got these officers and everybody, so they should have been trained for this. Well, they knew they got to learn this, and this first. They got to take baby steps. You can only give them so much. So when we start talking about what we want, how to reform this, what they should be trained for, these are the things we got to do. And I tell people all the time, hey, man, see about being on the citizen review board, because what you think ain't always what you think. When we did one and I took some of them to the crimes in progress class and I put them in shoot or don't shoot situations, now they can see something a little different because I got an arsenal of secret weapons, not to just show off, but to show people why sometimes cops have to make bad split-second decisions. They can't wait for the film to come out. You know, when I showed people the Super Soaker shotgun, everybody initially thought it was a water pistol till I showed them it was a 12 gauge. Oh, I didn't know that. You're right, and that's a good thing because you're not a criminal. Understand, when I teach, unfortunately, when I teach officers survival, I don't teach them how to survive non-criminals. I teach them how to survive people who are trying to hurt them. They don't know which one you are the moment that you're becoming resistant. And guess what their first frame of mind is? It's to make it home. And you know, this is why when I teach civilians, hey, when the cops pull you over, these are the things I want you to do. While he back there in the car, we all got these phones now. Cut on the record or call somebody and leave it open so they can hear. But put the phone down. Don't sit there and try to be a smart ass. I'm filming this. All that ain't necessary. You're being unnecessarily combative. I ain't telling you to be no punk, but understand. Lyle was saying, first thing first. When I pull you over, first thing first, I'm supposed to walk up to you, tell you who I am, and tell you why I pulled you over. Not ask you why. And here's a trick. And I had some agents get mad at me for telling people this. If a cop asked you, hey, you know why I pulled you over? Yeah, I was speeding, huh? He can't put that on the ticket. You know why he can't put it on the ticket? Because he never read you your rights. So that's the time to talk. And, you know, too many cops are using this trick. Oh yeah, they admitted it. Did they admitted it after you told them what they did and you read them their rights, or they just came out and said it? Well, they just came out and said it. That's called an utterance. It's an
excited utterance.
Yeah.
Excited utterance.
So you can't. You cheating. How you find that drugs? Oh, well, when I was doing the frisk, I found you can't do a frisk and find drugs. A frisk is for weapons, but why was you frisking him? You see a guy in Georgia walking around with shorts on and a tank top up and down Fulton Industrial. That's our Hood Street, Omega.
Yeah.
And you pull him over to ID him. Why? Why did you want to ID him? First of all, you need a legal reason, not just cause. And so
cops act like you always supposed to have an ID on you at all times.
Right. And if you fall for it, and that's why, when I try to educate people, the only time you ever have to have ID on you is when you're driving a vehicle on a city street. As long as you're driving on your property or in a subdivision, you don't have to have this. Now, once you hit a main street, you got to have it. It's the law. Now, how big of a law is it? It's a petty law, because Omega might have left his license in the house, or he might have left it at his girlfriend's house. He going back to get it. I can ask him his name and prove who he is. Now, some cops are anal. I ain't mad at them as long as you're anal all the time. There was a guy in East Point who wrote his grandmama a ticket for going 5 miles over the speed limit. You know what? I can't negotiate with him because he's stupid to me. If you write your grandmama a ticket, ain't a whole lot I can do for you. But here we go. This is how we get past certain things, and this is why I wanted to be a part of the system once I got to it and saw what was going on, because we don't know, and we'll spread misinformation because Pookie or Ray Ray told us this, and what Pookie or Ray Ray got away with was luck, or they got away with a lazy officer, or they got away with an officer who wasn't as anal about his job. So, I pull a guy over. I pulled him over because he had his little kid in the window. Man, he rolled the window down, weed smoke everywhere. I'm a 15-year vet. Guess what I don't care about? I don't care about you smoking weed. I want that little boy out the window. He had an attitude with me. So he went to jail over something simple. But in his mind and his friend's mind, I was abusing my authority. All I want you to do is get your son out the window. See, you can do whatever you want to your life, but you can't just risk his life. He's 6 and he all in the window without his seatbelt on, sitting in the little. But you ain't have to do that. You're right, I didn't. Oh, you were just being an asshole. Okay, that's how you feel. But it don't change what's right. And when people pull you over, Mr. Moore, let me see ID. I stopped you for speeding. You were doing 65 and a 45. What's wrong?
No, I wasn't.
And, if he don't give me something that appeals or makes me sound like he's sincere, because ain't none of y'all can tell me y'all ain't been pulled over by the good cop and they just gave you one and told you going away. A lot of it is we have bad days. And I tell people, stop thinking cops are better than you, even though sometimes we are, because we're stupid enough to help total strangers. But cops have shitty days. The one guy I truly did harass. Truly did. No excuse. I came from a scene where a man had raped his kids. And now I gotta listen to you talk shit about what I should be doing. Yeah, you catching the book because you caught me at a bad time. Just like when I teach people, understand that sometimes I catch you at a bad time. We have to figure out what that happy medium is. But first and foremost, is what I'm doing illegal? And that's why I tell people, these are the things that are illegal. Me telling you you gotta let me search you. You gotta let me do this. Omega, y'all in the car. This is my favorite scenario. And we're going to do it just like y'all doing now. Roy is the driver. Lyle is the passenger. Robert is in the back seat behind the driver. Omega's in the back seat behind Lyle. I pull this Escalade over. In the seat. Oh, no, he was speeding. But in the magazine rack behind Roy's seat is a pound of weed. Y'all with me so far, right?
Okay, right. So whose weed is it?
Who goes to jail legally?
This driver.
Why the driver?
Because it's his car, it's his weed, and
I was about to say,
and he's gone.
I was about to ask whose car is it? Just because I'm driving don't mean it's my truck.
Robert, who go to jail?
It would be me.
That's a good question.
Robert, who go to jail?
Hell, everybody not going to jail.
Omega?
Omega,
Omega, who go to jail? Who?
You done something wrong, Omega. You muted on your end and something came out.
My bad. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
We got you. We got you.
Is it in the magazine rack behind the driver's seat?
Yeah.
Then robber going to jail. Whoever's sitting behind that driver's seat and is the first one accessible to it, they going to jail. If it was under the front seat, the driver going to jail. If it was under the passenger seat, the passenger going to jail. If it's in the magazine rack behind the passenger seat, then that'll be me. I'm going to jail because I'm the closest one to it that can reach to it and get it.
And I'm gonna tell you what the law say. And the law is the law is clear on this. Robert ain't got no choice but to go to jail. He going to jail. Right? No. Robert is in front of Robert, so he can't deny he can't deny he see it. But guess who else going to jail?
Me.
Omega right there looking too. See, Roy, I can't prove you and Lyle can see it. And unless Robert or Omega snitch on you, I can't even make y'all be part of the crime.
Wait. Is it visible to the cops?
Yeah, it's in the magazine rack. It ain't hid up on it. It's right there in the rack. It's in that little mesh thing. Legally speaking, the only people I can prove can see that weed are the people in the back seat. Now, what most cops will do is tell you, I'm locking everybody up and let the judge sort it out. The law doesn't say that. The law says I got to be able to prove my case. I can prove that these two saw it. I can't prove Roy saw it. Hell, Lyle got access to it, but can I prove Lyle can see it? And it depends on if his seat is all the way back, which it probably ain't because Omega behind him. I can't do that. But too many times, officers will lock up everybody in the environment and tell you this. See, so now, legally speaking, Roy and Lyle got lawsuits on me because I arrested them for no reason. Oh, well, you was around drugs. That's find that in the code section for me. There's a possession. There's sale, transfer, and manufacture. If Roy is driving the car, what is he possessing other than the steering wheel? I can't prove it. Possession, constructive possession are those who can see it. Because when Robert got in the car and he saw the weed, Robert should say, hey, man, I'm going to catch the bus. Omega should have said, hey, man, I'm going to catch the bus. Now, if I pull the car in the back seat, then it does go to the driver. Because there's nobody else who's there. And this is one thing. When we talk about reasonable people, and I don't want y'all to be paranoid, but when y'all get passengers in y'all car, do y'all search them?
No.
So how do you know? And this is what I try to explain to police. Quit saying that dumbness. Nobody searches people who get in their car. So if something is not in the reach of the driver, quit trying to put it on him because you're lazy. Yeah. The law will not allow me to just randomly lock up people because I don't want to take my time out and do a little research. I can't prove that the passenger, the front seat people had anything to do with it. I feel. The law ain't based on what I feel. The law is based on a series of facts and circumstances that I can articulate at the time I'm making an arrest. So when I go to put handcuffs on Roy turns around and swing at me. Roy pulls out a gun and shoot at me. Guess what the law say? The law says I'm guilty of assault because I tried to arrest Roy illegally. See, and these are the things that we don't know. And
let me say this. That's something some white motherfucker would get off with and we'd go to jail for. Because his lawyer said, well, you weren't supposed to be arrested anyway, and so he was going to defend it.
But that's because we can't afford a lawyer.
But the motherfucking difference right there.
That's part of the difference. You don't need to afford a lawyer when you can just ask somebody who knows because they was part of the system. And this is why I tell people, whether we like it or not, we gotta be part of the system so that we can educate one another. Because if you wait on somebody who ain't got your best interest in heart to tell you what you need to know, you ain't gonna never know. And that's what we can't keep falling behind. And that's why I'm so adamant about us being part of the same systems that we hate, whether we want to or not. We have to learn how to we have to learn how the system works so that we can then learn how to make the system work for us. Because once you know, when I tell brothers, Roy called me, hey man, me and my girl just got into a fight. That motherfucker hit me with a frying pan. Hey Roy, I know you don't want to do it, but man, go on and call the police and file a report. No, man, I ain't no punk. All right. Then Roy called me back in 24 hours. Yo, man, the police had to lock me up. My girl called. You're right. She called Roy. You should have called the police. All you got to do is file a report. You don't have to press no charges, but get your statement heard first. Because too many dudes, I can tell you this, I did domestic violence. Too many dudes go to jail because they too big and bad to call the police. I don't want to get the white man involved. Well, the white man coming anyway when she called because you gave her that option. And right. And we can't keep being scared of the system. Once we know how it works, we don't have to have the same fear because knowledge is power. And when you can check an officer right then, you got your recording devices. Hell, now everybody got to have a camera, and you ain't got to be arrogant. You ain't got to be none of that. Just say, hey, sir, I need to know why you pulling me over. You know,
right? D, check this out.
Yes, sir.
Hearing all this, man, we got what's up, Lyle? We got to do something, man. We got to This just gave me an idea. We talk about ways that we can impact this thing in a larger sense. I know you're not trying to get out, and technically we don't have to even get together to do it. We can do some of this stuff digitally.
Yeah.
But we need to have you record some of these things and put it out.
We need a list.
In a little, even the little videos. And we can do something. So when we get this, and let me give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Like this situation, and this is what I was talking about. I wanted to bring it back around. When we were talking about what happened with the 2 officers that did the stuff to the college student, they got fired and then they got reinstated. We need to put something out to explain, to say, hey, stop asking for these guys to get fired. When these types of things happen, this is what the process needs to be if you truly want justice.
Yeah, because I didn't know that either, that they closed the file.
Walk people through that. That won't take no more than 3 minutes to say, you need to leave them, or they need to be on the administrative leave so that they can go through the full investigation, so that we can see exactly what happened, get to the stuff. If you truly want justice, because that's what they have a holler, no justice, no peace. So if you truly want justice, you gotta let the process go through. But see, people have to understand why, because that was like my thing.
Need to be educated.
Right. I agree with you. When they did that, whenever we see these knee-jerk reactions from people in power, I've said it for years that they doing that just to placate black people. Yeah, we're gonna fire them and get them all out of the way, and then the same thing always ends up happening. Right. And so we gotta make it understood why you don't fire the police officer, because once you fire them, like you said, and now, like you said, these cats got a license, because anything, unless it's egregious, anything that they do is gonna look like retaliation.
But that's why, you know, like I said, I don't mean to pick on Robert and Omega, but I picked them for a special reason. I mean, there's a reason I didn't pick a bunch of uppity people. I mean, because I can tell people my experiences from the hood, but I need 2 guys who can come in, because I don't take nothing they saying as animosity. I take it with the passion that they giving it. And this ain't no disrespect, but I have to take it with the ignorance that they giving it, because they ain't been inside. Because hell, I was ignorant one time. I thought that cops could do certain things because they tell us they can, because the streets say they can. But once you get in and you start reading and you know, and especially like with the scenario I gave y'all with the 4 people, I teach that in class. Damn near everybody failed that scenario because they want to lock up all 4 people. And I make them write me a report for why they locked up everyone. And then I tell them to look at it. Then I show them the code section about making an illegal arrest, where if you make an illegal arrest as a cop, you know you're in uniform, which means you got a badge and a gun.
You know, agree with Roy? So you agree with what Roy said?
About what?
Did you hear anything he just said?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that's why. And the original thing was I was supposed to do these once a month, but sometimes I just forget and other stuff be going on. But that's why I try to find people who got issues, so when they give them to me, I can start making these things. Because sometimes, what was my number 1 reason for not being an activist? Sometimes I just don't give a shit because niggas wear me down. And it sucks, but sometimes I just get wore down with negativity. You know, I hate when I'm trying to tell people the answer, but all they want to do is tell me what the street said, because that don't work for me. I can give you, I still got code books. I can tell you where it's against the law. Oh, ain't nobody gonna do all that. Well, if you ain't gonna do it, then why am I talking to you? You know, so
here's my question. What are our steps? Like I said, 5 educated brothers. What are our steps to do that? Roy, are we gonna do video? Are we gonna have a list online or something like that, you know, of I say start out with the first 3 or 5 most frequently, I won't say ask questions or problems that we run into. Traffic stops. What should we do in traffic stops besides put our hands on 10 and 2? Walking in the neighborhood, can a cop just ID you for no reason? And if you say no, then why not? You know, we need a little backup so that we can be educated to tell him Well, no, that's not the law, sir. I can be walking here and not need ID. We need to know the backup, because then they gonna come with another bullshit lie and say, no, I'm doing it just for my safety. Well, no, you should only be patting me down for weapons. You can plainly see I don't have no weapons. Boom, search to stop then. We got to know a little bit more of our defense or the rebuttal or what that should be.
All right, well, I'm gonna share the first little tidbit with y'all. When you go to the random thought page, the very first video that always pop up is a stop and frisk video. And that's because it was a big deal, and so many people were telling me what they thought it meant, and everybody kept saying his safety, if he armed. Well,
right.
and let me explain to you why it's so specific. Because the Constitution says you have the right to be armed, so I can't just violate that code at any time. Right. There's nothing illegal about being armed. Well, it was concealed. Yeah, whatever. That's BS. But anyway, why am I really stopping you? Somebody said, they was profiling. And let's not get it twisted. Everybody profiles. I cannot profile strictly based on race unless the race is the issue that caused me to profile. If I'm in Bankhead and they say there's a tall white boy doing something, well, guess who I'm looking for? I'm looking for a tall white boy. That is purely racial. Every other tall person is gone by me. But there's a time when it's legal, but we profile all the time. I can't just sit back, and do stuff. And this is why, like I said, I reach out to you guys because I don't ever want you to agree with me when you don't have to, even to the point of playing devil's advocate, because people need to be able to say stuff, and some of them don't have a forum, or they too scared to say it because they think I'm gonna get mad. I don't have time to get mad. This is me trying to educate you. That's why, I love to pick Robert, because Robert gonna keep giving it to me. You know what I'm saying? Trent told me to block him one time. He don't remember. He was just so disrespectful to me one time. But these are the things that we got to do. And as one of my friends, Doug, said, hey, because I know it's my duty. It's my duty. As much as I claim to love black people, and it's my duty to inform you when you're being jilted. I mean, hell, I probably got 20 inbox from people asking me and sending me their case stuff. And I tell them, hey, these are the things you need to do. They got attorneys who ain't telling this, because the attorney getting paid by the hour, so he's slow rolling you, asking for shit that ain't important. Look at the officer's training. Look at his folder. See how many times he's been suspended. Is this a pattern? Because if you keep letting me do bad shit and you never suspend me, you are promoting that bad shit. Because now the line is blurry. Whereas I could be doing something bad. I'm gonna use Robert again. Me and Robert partners, but every time I get a complaint, nothing happens. You can't tell me it's bad no more, because I've been complained on. Everybody said I did a good job. So now, in my mind, it's the right way, because I'm doing what they and because you gotta remember, most of these cops are still young and impressionable. Even when we go back to Minnesota, and you see a couple of them cops were saying, "Hey man, stop." They didn't participate. And people were like, oh, well, they shouldn't do. Oh, no, they got to go to jail. But you know why they can't go to jail? Because remember, it was 2 cops that wasn't doing nothing. You know why? You know why they can't go to jail for being accomplices? Because under normal circumstances, they would be the bad cop that Robert is talking about. But under this circumstances, they're following policy. They're with their training officer who has shown them that this is legal, and okay, he got promoted for using it. So now theirs is of ignorance, because they ain't had nobody to tell them that this is wrong. They're being shown by a guy a bad technique who got promoted for using this bad technique, who's been to the principal's office 20 times. So if he can state all that, well, shit, he must be doing. I don't agree with it, but I don't know what to do about it, because it's policy. At that point, all of the supervisors, all of the managers that looked over this and let it ride, they need to be got rid of. Because once you got a captain who's saying this is okay, the captain affects 20 people. I only affect Robert and Omega. The captain got all of us. And that's why I say you can't keep going for the line officer first. He can fall in it if you can clear them. But if you can't clear them, like with the scenario Robert was saying, you can be a thief and it ain't your parents' fault. But if your parents reap the benefits of that and they say, hey, just keep doing what you do, we don't care how you get these TV, they're helping to promote that. They're not correcting you, then they become complicit in it. Because the first time your mama tell you something, you know what you do? You start sneaking in, because you know you're not getting acceptance from it. You ain't gonna show her the new stuff you got no more, because she ain't that type of woman. And this is why I say we gotta attack management. We gotta look at who we voting for. And you know, when Keisha did her thing, everybody applauded her. But you can't keep doing that if there's a financial cost to the public. Because when the taxes go up and then our grandparents can't afford to pay that new higher tax because Keisha did something that's costing them money, who loses in the end of the day? When she could have just waited, hell, the city was already on fire. And all it took was her telling what she's going to do. Hey, we're going to look into this. I'm calling the GBI. We're going to do an internal investigation. We're going to do it the right way, because if I fire them and they get their jobs back, this is what's going to happen. Once we know all of that, we okay with what's going on. But people don't tell us why they can't rush. So we like the rush because it emotionally makes us feel good. And then they sneak them back on the department, because you didn't see no big press clip and talking about they was back. You ain't seen nobody say nothing. They just back. And it's public record. It's on YouTube. The whole hearing is on YouTube, because it's public. But unless you one of them people who looking for it, it'll pass you by. Because if you say something, they'll say, well, it's public record. We didn't try to hide nothing. We just didn't broadcast it. Keisha ain't gonna come back and say, I made a mistake. I'm gonna cost y'all some money, because that's gonna cost your votes. So everybody liked what they saw. But do you really want your grandmama or your great grandmama to lose their property, because their property taxes now gonna go up $100 because they got to pay this $500,000 lawsuit out for wrongful termination? See, that's what we can't keep falling for, because then that does affect us more, because it happens in black cities. It ain't happening.
Let me ask you something. Who's on the board who determined that these cops should come back? What the board is made of?
There's usually 2 attorneys, sometimes 3, and then they got people who sit on a review panel. Anytime somebody gets suspended or fired or something, you're supposed to go to a review before you can sue.
It's made up of what, cop lawyers?
No, most time it's a couple of the only cop lawyers are the ones that the cop bring. Most time it's county attorneys, a human resources person. They vary, but most of them are city or county employees, depending on who you're doing it through. But they want you to do all that before you go to court, because legally I can't sue you until I get the appeal hearing, and the appeal hearing determines everything.
I got a question. Go ahead, bro.
Go, do your thing.
All right, I got a quick question. Earlier you had said, you know, as far as coming from a police perspective, it's not necessarily personal, but if you in our neighborhood and you see me smoking weed, the law is, if that's the law, that you can't smoke weed, then you have to, you know, do something about it. So I'm gonna ask 2 questions. First question is, let me ask you, number 1, in the black community, here's the first question. Who do you think smokes / buys more weed? Us in the hood that got to put 5 into 2 5 together to get a 10. We asking for 2 for 20. You know what I'm saying? The person in the hood who makes $30,000 with a 4-family income, do you think they smoke or buy more weed? Or would you say someone whose family makes 100, the white boy whose parents make $200,000 a year and he can go buy a whole ounce whenever he wants to? Which community would you say purchases the most weed? And I'm keeping weed simple because most people don't really have. I'm trying to prove a point, so I'm not talking about heroin. I'm not talking about hard drugs. I'm not talking about wholesale crack.
I got
just
you.
Don't smoking weed.
So I'm gonna tell you now.
Wait. See, this is what I want to answer for somebody who was involved in some stuff with the legal side of it. And I'm gonna jump in on this because I just want to make this statement. I want to see what D has to respond to it. I want to see what he says. It's not the matter of who has the amount to buy it. It's where you smoking it at. The kid in the $100,000, in the family in the $100,000, he's smoking it either inside the garage with the door closed or in his room.
Mm-hmm.
We want to stand outside and smoke it so that everybody see us smoking it.
But
that's where we run into the problem at.
But let me answer, because what he asks is actually a tricky question, and this is one of the things that I fought against, because who is purchasing the most weed are the people up north. But you know what they do? They pay you to go get it. And that's why you get caught with it. Because as far as the legal term of who's buying the most, it's that dude who's struggling to get, because he know if he buys for little Jimmy gonna give him a tip so he can get some more. So he puts himself in harm's way for little Jimmy, because Jimmy ain't coming to Bankhead to buy no weed. He knows somebody and he gonna tip him. And
not talking about I agree with what you said. What you just said, I totally agree with, but I just want to clarify. I'm not talking about who buys the most in Bankhead. I'm just saying, considering up north and Bankhead, who do you think is sitting with the most weed in their house? Not a dope dealer, but just the average smoker. My son, so let's say my 18-year-old son, 17-year-old son smokes weed. Him and his friends got to all get up $5 and find change to get a blunt. Somebody else family that's making $250,000 a year, they son can go get a QP when he wanted. So all I'm saying is, which community, not where they go, but which community you think got more drugs? My house or the house that has $250,000? Which house you think got more weed in?
Not your house, your hood. Because again, I arrested a white boy who had 27 kilos. You know where they were? They were at his girl's house in the hood. He wasn't gonna keep it with him. So and I get what you're saying, but most of them are smart enough not to have stuff on them. They put it with other people and they pay them a premium. Again,
but if you're talking keys, you ain't talking weed.
Well, I mean, yeah, because they got 100 people selling it, so it don't.
But I want to take it. I want to keep it the most level thing. Let me just ask a second question that still goes with that question. So I'm gonna just ask you, can you explain to us what the broken windows policy is? Have you heard of that?
I heard of it in different forms.
All right. So essentially what the broken windows policy is, it's a form of policing where they figure the smaller the crime is, it usually will indicate that there are bigger crimes going on. So for example, if I walk down a good neighborhood and there's only one house on that street that has a broken window, then 9 times out of 10, the house with the broken window sells crack, does drugs, does some sort of other bigger crime, because they don't even care enough to fix their broken window. That started in New York, came down to DC, and it's been spreading through the South.
I ain't gonna say it's spreading through the South, but what we look for
is at least in Florida, and it's at least in Houston. I'm telling you what I know.
Florida's a whole different animal, but
true. Don't, hey, y'all not about to do Florida like that. But
hey,
I'm a Florida boy. Y'all can't do that, man. Y'all can't.
I'm from Palm Beach. From Palm Beach, I moved down to Miami. I know about Florida now. You can't.
Yeah, you can't do Florida like that, right?
Yes, I can. And see, now I'm gonna pull Robert in the cosign. See, when drugs hit its height up here, especially with weed and small cocaine, the Miami boys brought it. And what the Miami boys did was they went to hoods and they paid girls to let them keep it in there, and they paid girls to leave their doors unlocked so they could run through different apartments when they was running from the police to take off their clothes. Other than that, see. We can say what was going on in Bankhead. Bankhead, a lot of people were smoking, but this is how you catch the attention of the police. See, I can see some young boys smoking, and they so caught up in smoking they missed that big ass patrol car with them bright lights on it. So when I pull up to them, I don't even get out the car because I just want to laugh at them first because I'm cool like that. And I'd be like, "Are y'all really trying to go to jail?" I said, because it ain't that you smoking, it's that you being disrespectful. Y'all don't even have enough common sense to look out for me and at least try to walk away when you see me. I can stop this big ass Crown Victoria in front of y'all, and all y'all do is look surprised. Now, y'all younger than me, so I ain't finna open this door and chase none of y'all. I'm just telling you how stupid it is. Can't y'all go to the playground and smoke, or go somewhere where I gotta go through some obstacles to get you? Because as Roy said, the white boys, they doing it in their garage. They doing it somewhere else where they can't easily be seen. So
that's the point I was making.
Yeah, but part of us is our arrogance. We want to just get away with shit and tell people what they should be doing. But if I know the drug trade, and this is the part that hit home more so for me. Because in our hood, junkies are a threat to our kids. And that bothers me. I've seen too many people who trade their kids, and it ain't for the weed, but it's when they start moving the harder stuff. Those are issues for me. So yeah, I do pay more attention. And I am offended when people want to tell me who I am or what I do. And it's funny it's hilarious how many times I've been in 1 hour hoods and somebody came up and said, yo, that's that dude from Soul Patrol. And then everybody's guard went down. They started talking to me like I was a regular, like all of a sudden now I ain't got a scarlet letter on my head. But I was human before and trying to help. But if you meet me with resistance, then guess what? I'm gonna go help the white people because they appreciate it. You ain't gotta like me, but if I come to try to help you, don't fight me. You know, when the white people kids get kidnapped, it was a drug dealer in a white neighborhood. This lady went out of town for 2 weeks, gave us the key to her house and alarm code, and she had a camera already set up. She said, "Y'all come look at this anytime." Black people don't do that, and a lot of times you just get tired. You get, you know, I want to help my people more than anything else, but they see that help as hurting them because I'm taking people out their community. Well, if I think you're a predator to my people, yeah, I'm targeting you. Well, why you ain't doing the white people? And I don't want it to sound racist, but them not my people. I'm looking out for mine first, and we don't like that. For the same reason we get mad at our parents for making us go to bed early, for making us study, for doing all kind of things that at the time we don't want to do. But later on, we find out they're good for us. So when I try to educate, and I put up, because I'm gonna take a little bit of guff, because I know people generally don't like cops, which is so funny, because you're like me. You can't, they can't, both truths can't exist at the same time. And I don't care what you say, oh, man, it ain't got nothing to do with my uniform. You're going to like me regardless. You just ain't going to smoke when I'm in uniform. But that part exists because I know lots of people who smoke. And we can sit down and talk, but I don't like smoke, so I don't want no smoking around me. It has nothing to do with the job. I just don't like smoke. My daughter, her lungs are sensitive. My son before her had sensitive lungs, so I didn't want it around me. But again, like I said, the point is to educate us. The point is for you to hit me with scenarios so I can show you where what you saw wasn't true reality. That's why I hit Robert with who was Pac-Man and Reebok with, because those were notorious bad cops forever. They were street bad notorious because they didn't have big jackets with a bunch of investigations because nobody told on them because they thought all police stood together. The law says, here's the law. The law says if I watch a cop beat up Robert and Robert gets hurt, I get sentenced to the same amount of time as the cop who did the punishment. See, cops don't want that. That's why good cops do what they do. And that's why bad cops don't want to be around them. So we're not finna risk everything for your dumb ass. I'm not finna have nobody trying to push up on my wife because I'm doing a 10-year bid because I saw something and the blue silence. Oh, this blue is not silent. This blue got a notebook of stuff.
Here's the problem. Whose job it is to uphold the law? And I think the citizens are under the impression that cops are going to do the right thing, man. You're sworn to uphold the law.
But y'all don't believe that, Robert. Y'all know you don't believe that.
But that is your job. It's your job to uphold the law.
It's my job, but do you believe that?
It's my job it's your job to uphold the law. It's my job to abide by the law.
But do in general, do people believe that that's what cops do? But no, they don't. So then if you already don't believe it, you can't keep holding me to an expectation you don't believe.
It don't matter if I believe it or not. You're sworn to that. It don't matter what I believe. You're sworn to uphold the law. And it's my job to abide by the law. So it's almost like you're giving cops excuses. You're making excuses for cops.
How do I make an excuse for cops?
You know what I'm saying? Because if it's your job to protect and serve me. It's your job to protect and serve me and uphold the law.
They're not supposed to protect and serve us, bro. They protect and serve property owners.
Well, that's what they say, you know. So I'm just going by what they say, you know.
I got you.
When they take that oath, that's what they say, you know what I'm saying?
So then when I lock up the guy for smoking weed and I'm upholding the law, then you mad at me.
Well, can I explain why? That's the reason why I brought up that. Here's super quickly. Here's my issue with the police in our neighborhood. Super quick. Let's take Pookie and we're gonna take Johnny. I don't gotta explain who is who, but we got Pookie and we got Lil Johnny. All right. Pookie and Lil Johnny are 17-year-old boys who smoke weed. Both of them make A's and B's in school, pretty good students. When little Johnny is walking down the street in his neighborhood where all the houses is $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 or better, there is no police rolling by that's going to stop and frisk him, ask him do he got weed in his pocket, like you say, lie to us and tell us I'm allowed to do. They don't do none of that. So Lil Johnny goes on to his friend's house and they smoke in the garage, like you said. Here go the problem. When Lil Pookie can smoke in his mama house because she don't play that. Most of our parents didn't play that. But he know he can walk down to Ray Ray house and smoke. When Lil Pookie is walking to Ray Ray house, he is 1,000 times % more likely to get pulled over by a police officer. And here's the point that I'm making. When Pookie catches that little possession charge, the judge looks at it like, go ahead, give him the possession. It's simple, it's not even a felony. But we all understand as Black people what it's like once your name is in the system, once the cops know you got the weed. So now, John never has that. Johnny grows up to be a 30-year-old dude. He goes on to college, goes on to that. Lil Pookie going to college, although he's an A and B student with them weed charges on his system, he don't get to go to college. He doesn't get to create this generational wealth. He doesn't get to go and do the whole 4-year college. Now he got to go to community college, spend 2 years there. Now, while you going to community college, Lil Pookie still want to smoke weed because he ain't learned his lesson. A lot of look at Lil Pookie and say, why did he learn his lesson? Okay, neither did Lil Johnny. Because Lil Johnny smokes all through college, all through graduation school. When he get his first gig, he's smoking weed, and all the way through. But he never catches a case. But because our communities are over-policed, think how many people caught in the small charge, the weed charge. And then because they can't get a job with a weed charge, now they graduate to let me sell cocaine. Let me do this because I gotta feed this family.
Omega Black, you know what they did? Omega Black, you know what they did? They labeled, they considered our era. They said this thing called the DC-6. So that means no matter where you at in that area, you can be targeted. But see, the Johnny area didn't get that label. My area got that label.
That's what I'm saying.
So they made it legal to frisk and search you depending on where you live. Wherever you are.
Let me ask you a question, because both of y'all just said the answer. Ignorance is bliss. You know why they don't do it up north? Because they know when they call their daddy gonna call that high-powered attorney who gonna ask the same questions I just told y'all for free. Because we don't say nothing. We argue about why you ain't doing something else. The first thing that white attorney want to do is want to know what was your probable cause. Why did you stop me?
I agree with you, D.
Why, we don't
I
see
agree
that.
with you, D.
So
but what we're not looking at, that white boy is able, his daddy is able to call a high-powered attorney because his daddy never caught a weed charge. Daddy had a weed charge, a cocaine charge, and a robbery charge, so my daddy ain't got no high-powered lawyer.
Omega.
And that's because you know what I'm saying? My daddy, let's go to Johnny and Pookie's daddy. Johnny daddy smoked weed, Pookie daddy smoked weed. Johnny daddy never caught a case. Pookie daddy caught 40 cases. That's the reason why Johnny daddy can call the lawyer. It's a cycle over and over again. If y'all been in Bankhood since you was for 30 years, when are y'all gonna make it safer?
Again, why don't they do the same thing to me and mine? Because they're educated. See, it ain't the cycle of where you go. Because little Johnny daddy did the same thing. He came up in a affluent neighborhood, so they knew they could call him. You ain't got to be able to call the cops. I'm giving you free information on the same thing this lawyer charging them $250 an hour for. I'm giving it to my people for free, and they want to fight me. Say the magic word. What is your probable cause, sir? What was your reason for stopping me? You couldn't have looked at me and saw that I had weed in my pocket. You couldn't do it. One of my friends she passed the bar. Brand, she called me on one of her cases. She said, D, I got this narcotics officer. He pulled my client over because he was at a house looking around, and he said he smelled weed. I say, in a car? One car going north, the other car going south. How did he smell weed? But what happens is, even good attorneys, when they first start out, they concentrate on the case, not on the action. Because the car was about a man in a parking lot. They thought he might have been a burglar. Okay, so when the police come and he leaving, there's no more crime. So best case scenario, the police can stop. We're going to just use Robert now. The police can stop Robert and say, hey, sir, what were you doing at the house over there? You know, we got a call. And Robert's like, I saw a sale. I was just looking around. That's the end of that. There's no crime in none of that. Oh, is that weed I smell? You stopped me. What did you stop me for? You stopped me for questioning. You can't take it somewhere else because you're using a bogus stuff. And we have to learn the language. And that's what I'm here to teach you guys, because we'll say a bunch of stuff that's BS. The reason I stopped you is because of this. Now, I stopped the guy one time. Black guy, 5'10", had dreadlocks. That was the description they gave for a guy who robbed a liquor store. And we're going to just say that shoe, Omega. So you know what I do? I tell you, hey, sir, I got a description, and I'm a call radio. And while you right there, I'm going to say, radio, give me the description of that guy that robbed the store again, so you can hear what I'm looking for. So now you know it. I know you're taller than 5'10". We just using that. So
you a rare breed. Rare breed. So, most cops ain't gonna do that.
And I disagree. Most cops will. That's why you don't hear about them. You only hear about a bad cop every now and then. You figure the sheriff's department is 1,000 strong. You can't tell me. Robert been here most of his life. He can't tell me he's heard about 20 bad sheriffs. We're 1,000 deep. So if you ain't heard about 20 out of 1,000, that's less than 2%. It's just nobody talks about good cops because we're doing what we're supposed to do, and that's the way it should be. Right. But when I'm giving you free information, I say, once you know these things, it's there. Like I say, when you go to the Random Thought page, there's a video about stopping trips where I tell people about it because people kept hitting me up about it, and I just did a video on it. So and so when you got these people who get stopped, and I'm telling you, every single time a police stop you, he has got to tell you why he's stopping you. See, I'm gonna give y'all a quick sample. What time is it?
We got 5 minutes.
All right.
And I got that song for you too. Okay.
There are 3 types of police citizens encounter.
You got 5 minutes. You got 1 minute to talk.
There are 3 types of police citizens encounter. All right. And every time you run to a police, they fall under this. Either he's officer friendly and he just saying, hey, how you doing? And doing his thing. No show of force. He's just being a good person. The next time is when he's doing an interrogation. When he thinks something is happening. Hey, I'm Officer so-and-so. The reason I stopped you is because I got questions to ask you. You're not free to leave, but he's got to tell you why he's doing it. Okay? The third time is when he's arresting you. Then the only 3 times the police should ever be, and he has it. You should know which one he's at. If he's arresting you, he's got to have a reason. When he want to ask you questions, if he want to ask you general questions, you have a right not to answer. See, on the last scenario where I stopped Omega because he fit a description. See, if he run, he going to jail. But my stop was legit based on the description. Now, if they say it was a 5'10" male with locks and I try to stop Robert, see, I'm already wrong. And this is why I tell people, it sucks, but don't fight. Go ahead and let them lock you up because it's better than getting shot at for the wrong reason. But once they lock you up and you find out everything was bogus, then yeah, you call me right quick. I'm gonna give you some free information. Then you go on to call one of them attorneys and give them the law. And I'm gonna tell you what to say to them because now you got an illegal arrest. You can get at least $40,000 a day that you sat in jail. If you got a job, whatever you got, whatever you making this pay, put 2 zeros behind that because that's damages. And it's a pain in the ass, but it still be getting shot. But once you hit people with knowledge, they back up. When the police pulled me over, and there's a couple times that I was borderline doing something slightly illegal, but the way he stopped me told me he had something else in his heart. I went through all the stuff. Oh, what are you accomplished something? I said, no, I just know what I'm talking about. So, sir, you might want to go back to your car, walk back up here again, tell me the legal reason you stopped me, and go ahead and tell me your badge number in your department and give me your supervisor's name because everything you did was illegal. You one of them. Have a nice day. We good to go. But I got my recorder going because I tell everybody, as soon as you get pulled over, first thing you do is cut on that record. Cut it on. If the traffic stop turned out to be nothing, you can delete it. If it turned out to be something, you save it. If he try to smash your phone, it go to the cloud because most of us got all these little crazy devices. If you ain't got it, get your kids to set it up for you. But that's what we got to start. We got to start with knowledge and the Omegas, the Roberts, the Roys, the Lyles. When somebody call you with something, be like, shit, hold on a minute. Let me call my boy and see what he's saying. Because I'm going to tell you if you're wrong. Because I done had people call me. Right. You know, one of my friends called me. He said, hey, man, my girl got stopped for this. I called my partner. Bro, she lying to you. I saw the tape. She sat at a red light for 4.5 minutes. It turned red 5 times. The police sitting behind her with the lights the whole time. But she's talking about, oh, he profiled your ass sleeping, so he asked you to get out the car to take a sobriety test. So you refuse to get out, you refuse to take the sobriety test, which you can't do. You can't refuse the sobriety test if you're driving. That's an automatic suspension of license. Period.
Yeah.
But she's sitting there, she telling him something, she giving me the blues, but I saw the tape. The tape don't lie.
oh, you just saying that because you're a cop. No, I'm just telling you, get the tape, lady. Go on and pay an attorney to get that tape and see what's gonna happen. You might as well go on and fork over 10 grand. You gonna lose your license. You're gonna be lucky if you don't go to jail. But that tape was 20 minutes long, and five of the minutes was you just sitting at a red light with him behind you with his lights flashing in the middle of the road. And when he asked if you were sleeping, you said no. So why you sitting at a red light while it turned 8 times? But people don't want to hear that sometimes, because sometimes the cops are right. When they wrong, I will freely call them out. Just like I call out dudes who ain't shit, I call out cops who ain't shit. Brian asked me about the fraternal order police. Most of the time, they ain't shit. They just did something good that I like, and I ain't posted it yet. But the cops who got caught at the Capitol doing this insurrection, the FOP said they're not going to defend them, which is a good thing, because normally the fraternal order police will defend any police, even if they wrong, which is why I have never liked police unions. But they said they won't defend none of them cops who participated at the Capitol incident. That's a first for us, because normally they always defend them, period. So times do change. We just have to make the change right, and we have to speak right. You can't talk to people in a different language and think they understand what you're saying, because then you sound like you're just crying and whining and bitching. We got to do this strategically, as Roy was talking about. I can tell you how to say the right things. Don't fuss. Just speak clearly. If he's going to take you to jail, it sucks, but going to jail is still better than being shot. Don't put yourself in a shoot situation trying to prove a point. And because I can't control that narrative right now. But again, I will still say it happens less than we want to give it credit for. Because if you consider how many cops are in a given place, the incidences aren't that bad. It's just when you hear bad shit, it compounds itself because everybody thinks somebody know. But a lot of times these officers ain't with nobody. That's why they try to push the envelope, because I can tell you some stuff and hope you fall for nigalations and believe me. Oh, what you gonna do? Tell me, oh, they got my back. And you know what? You fall for it. You know, and I hate to use this correlation, but it's like cheating on your girl and telling, oh, my girl ain't gonna believe you, I got her. And if she don't say nothing, you good to go. But she tell your girl and all of a sudden she see the truth, she just killed your game. And that's what we got to do.
And the more reports makes each report more credible, which is why I agree with you. I definitely agree with you with, we need to say something. If you feel like, even if you're wrong, if the police didn't violate my rights, I need to say something, because if he did, it need to be written down somewhere, so that when the next person do it and the next person do it, like you said, like the brother RL said, he was like the guy in Michigan Minnesota had 20 cases, but you'd think if he'd only had one complaint, then we wouldn't even have heard about the case.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I agree that we should, report the police. It's just, I think a lot of us, don't even know how to. Like, bro, I'm being honest with you. I've been in the streets for a hot little minute, man. I don't know. I wouldn't tell on my man. So it's hard. I have no idea how to even tell on the police. Like where do you go to do that? Let's say I get locked up and then I get out. Let's say I get locked up using your scenario. I'm in the front with the weed in the magazine thing. I'm in the front seat. They lock all 4 of us up. When I get out, what do I do?
You call me and tell me what happened.
Well, yeah, but the people who don't know you.
For people who don't know you, that's the point. That's what he's trying to say. Everybody ain't got a D in their life,
right? But this is why we got. This is why we got to start like this, because I can get more officers on here, and everybody got to reach out to somebody. I have friends who call me for other people, but a lot of it is just research. It's hard for me to tell you where to go, because it's so many different ways to get caught up that you get frustrated, and that's why I don't want people to do it. Because you get frustrated because you don't know the right wording. You're gonna talk street. I'm gonna talk police and legal. Your street talk ain't what they hearing. They need to hear the legal term. Well, what did he do? He violated my civil rights. Well, how? He made me get out the car. Which ain't a civil right. And too many times we love to holler civil rights for stuff that ain't. Did y'all read the Constitution? You can't just do whatever you want to. And it sucks right now, but you got to find somebody in every neighborhood that is there. And it sucks, but Omega, when you see it on your page, you got to say, you know what, let me check with my boy right quick. Let me see if we can do a 3-way. And that's, hell, these people who I call now, they watch some of the shows, they inbox me. I don't know these people. And that's why I can give my honest opinion. I don't have a dog in the fight, other than I want fairness. I want cops to be better. I need for us to be safer. But I can't do it if you're doing crazy shit and you give the cop a out. Because now it's hard to call him out. Because now he can claim, oh, when I told him this, he jumped up at me. And so now he got to defend himself. And you can't tell me, all you telling me he did was call you out your name. Well, him calling your name ain't a reason to fight. Now, when you tell me he tried to cuff you, and I'm going to ask you why, so you forgot that part. Why he tried to cuff you? Well, he said he was cuffing me for his safety. Now we can talk. But if you forget that part in your excitedness, then you left an important part out for me to make your case one where you can take him and get him punished for it. Because all you worried about is him calling you names, but you ain't never told me he'll assault you.
I've been cuffed for officer's safety more times than I cared to remember, honestly. And if you telling me now they're not allowed to do that, that's crazy.
I ain't saying
I'm not saying you lying. I'm just saying it's crazy that I had no clue. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and hear me out now. I ain't saying they can't do it, but to do it, they have to have some specific reasons. See,
gotcha.
When I go to a drug house, I'm cuffing everybody. You know why? Because the law says where there are drugs, there are guns. So I can cuff everybody because we ain't searched the whole place yet. But if I just walk into a room with y'all two and all I got is a common disturbance, I may cuff the two of y'all if y'all been fighting just to make sure don't nobody fight again, but I can't do it for my safety. That's not what the law says. I got to do it for the safety of other people. I'm safe. I got a pistol. Y'all just standing there mad. I'm going to try to get y'all to go to separate sides of the room so that I ain't got to be in the center of this rave. But if not, yeah, I'm going to cuff both y'all. But again, it ain't for my safety. It's so that y'all will quit hitting each other while I'm talking. And these are the things cops have to tell you. When everything they're doing, unless it's an emergency, they got to tell you why. So you can't say you didn't know. I can't, I'm just doing this for your safety, then tell you locked up. I don't have to tell you I'm locking you up at the time I'm doing it because that's when most people want to fight. But before I put them cuffs on there, I still got to have a legal reason. So let's just say you smoking weed and that's why I lock you up. The courts give me a lot of play with drugs because the courts again say, where there's drugs, you can expect there to be guns. So now I can lock you up because I know you had drugs and there's already an expectancy that there's guns with drugs, whether it's marijuana, cocaine, whatever. The courts have accepted that as a common combination. But if you a shoplifter, shoplifters don't usually carry weapons. Most burglars don't usually carry weapons other than crowbars or something to break in with. Most burglars don't carry guns. So I gotta make the two match together. And that's what we got to become more knowledgeable. When I pull you out your car and I handcuff you, because what, you were speeding? There's nothing that says speeders carry guns. And if you tell me you got a gun in the glove compartment over there and it's shut, you can't get to that. So there is no danger. So why am I cuffing you? I'm cuffing you, because I'm a punk and I'm scared, which again is illegal. I can't cuff you because I'm scared. I can't cuff you. And I'm gonna say this because I know Roy got to go. I can't shoot you because I'm scared. There are specific reasons, and I think that's probably gonna be one of the first ones I do. There are specific things that have to happen for me to be able to shoot you. They're specific. They are non-negotiable. And when you're a super officer, there are 4. But none of them revolve around fear.
That's what we need to be learning as a people, those things. I definitely encourage you to do that, bro. You could make even just a little 5-minute, video on just things that people like me, or at least people who I used to be, need to know. You know what I mean?
But that's why I need y'all, because I've been a square for so long. I am a little out of touch with what people don't know. And that's why I need people to ask me questions, because some things I think everybody know, because now I was a cop for 22 years. I've been retired 10. So over half my life, I've been on the right side. So I don't know the daily interactions that people don't know. So when I try to do these, I try to get people to come in and comment and ask me questions, because I don't know anymore. And then I can tell you what to look for, what's right, what's not right. Because I'm thinking, shit, everybody know this. You can read this, you can do this. But again, see, that's my ignorance of what's really going on, because I turned into George Jefferson. I moved out the hood and left it. And I left it. So, like I say, I need for you to reach out to your people. When I post it on my page, I need people to ask me questions so I know what I need to do the video on. Roy can sit there and tell me, give me some ideas, but hell, ask Roy when the last time he was a criminal. So unless he go back
Roy
and
was
ask
selling
people what's
crack
going
last night. Roy was in the hood last night selling crack.
But you know, and like I said, and that's why I don't mind you're passionate about trying to call me out, but I need for us to hear the whole story so we can see some of it is our fault, whether it's ignorance or arrogance. A lot of it is the cops' fault. And I tell people, the man wearing the polyester is the one in charge right then. You got to pick the battles that you want to win. And you can't win them all right then. Some of them battles you can't win until 2-3 weeks later. You know, for every suspension I got, I had to take them. But in 6 months, when I got my money back and I got that back pay, see, I won that. But, you know, when they got me for them 3, 10, 15 days or whatever, they was winning. It wouldn't have needed me being an ass about it and hurt my future case, because I knew I was right. I just had to take that. I had to take that little quick look. What's the golden rule? You learn more from losses than you do from winning. So all the little mistakes I made, and I made them as a cop, and I made some before that. I try to do this, and I reach out to people. See, next time I'm gonna tell y'all, bring some people, cause you know, Roy and Lyle here, cause they my folks, but they ain't criminals. I need you to reach out to some people. I need for Robert to reach out to some people and bring them. So we got these questions.
It's a real incident.
Yeah, or I need people who still associate with the street criminals who got questions. And don't get me wrong, like I said, some of them gonna go to jail because that's just where they belong and that's their fault. But there's some I can't do nothing about, because even when you made the point before, and I'm gonna do this because I know Roy, like I say, I'm impeding on Roy's time. One of the biggest mistakes that we ever made, and we don't take accountability for it. And Omega, this is you. How old are you, Omega?
40.
Okay, you 40, so this was a little past you. In our day, the military took anybody. So we all had choices. We didn't have to be drug dealers. Anybody could join the military back in the 80s. So for everyone who told me, oh, my life was hard, I ain't have a choice. Yeah, you did, because the military didn't have no standards. They didn't have none. So you had a chance to get out. I mean, now they got standards. They want crazy shit now. But in the 80s, all you had to do was have a pulse and not have flat feet. I think flat feet is what got most people put out. Shit, as long as you
your
have
president.
Well, he paid his way, but you had
bone spurs or something.
You had a choice not to be a drug dealer. So don't say that nobody forced that on you. You just chose a different route, because we look at short-term stuff more than we look at a long-term future. And, you know, I'm going to do a show with you, Omega, how you done turned your shit around, how you ain't who you used to be. And you proud of the fact that you embracing a little squaredom now.
Hell yeah. I'm trying all the way spare up, bro. I'm trying all the way spare up. I ain't going to lie to you.
But at 25, that wasn't an option. Like, man, do I want to be a square? Nah, because we don't know no better. We don't have nobody to show us the difference and what it is that if we do it, we can overcome it. I mean, who I was ain't who I am, but I use it to help, you know, because shit, I ain't finna go into all that because my mom might be watching.
I got you.
But yo, like I said, gentlemen, I'm gonna task you guys, shoot me some information, or if you make a post about how to, you know, what people want to know about police and how they feel certain situations, feel free to tag me. Hell, if I don't respond, shoot me an inbox with some of the questions that they got and say, hey man, you know, you need to have these people on there. They got questions about this, about that. I'm game for this. We can do this. I mean, if it's necessary, we can do a Law and Order show once a month. If not, you know, like I said, I try to do one once a quarter.
I think that's a good idea, brother. Yeah. I do. Just because people, like I say, I've been in the streets for, you know, I'm just getting, I'm not gonna say just, but you know, within the last 5 to 10 years, me getting myself together. But I've been in the streets for a long time, and I learned. I'm type of dude like you. I pay attention. I sit back and I watch. So I learned a lot on my own. But a lot of things you said in this program, I say I ain't had no clue to. You know what I mean? So I think that it helped a lot of people with you doing that.
So yeah, when you start your show and then you let me be a guest, then we can talk to your audience, because I'm gonna keep pushing.
You're gonna be my first guest. That's right.
So, you know, but I just wanna, again, I want to thank, like I said, I done pushed Roy time, and he been a super host. He ain't said nothing. He ain't gave me he ain't shot me no inboxes telling me that he got to go to sleep or his Geritol wearing off. So Omega,
we got another show, man, coming up behind you.
Omega, tell them about your gin, and how to follow you once you start doing your thing, so we can get up out of here.
Super quick on Facebook, since this is probably where you're watching. Go to Facebook, put in Sankofa Gin. That's SANKOFA Gin, Sankofa Gin on Facebook. You can also go to www.sankofabottlingcompany.com. And should be by Monday, we will have our permits for online sales. So if you'd like to buy a bottle, I will let you know. It's as you can see, it's a gin. It's a citrus berry gin. This is the only gin you'll find that you can mix with any juice: cranberry juice, orange juice, pineapple juice, Kool-Aid, anything you want to mix it with, it'll go. And it's 100 proof, so drink responsibly.
How much?
25 a bottle. If you find it in the stores, it'll probably be around about 30 or 35 in stores. But if you catch it online, it's about $25.99.
But this is your drink?
Yes, sir. Completely black owned.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. I can
just
get
for anybody that know the Sankofa bird.
Because I mix all my drink with fruit juice.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna send y'all a bottle, man, and we're gonna do a drinking show. I got you.
All right, Lyle, tell them what you got going.
Yeah, this Makeup and More in the building, man. Mr. 976. Look, we've been having a lot of great dialogue and great conversations with these guys, man. I'm gonna try to be on location at the salon next week. Give y'all a nice, beautiful face, a lady for y'all to check out. I know most of y'all taking, but just a little eye candy for these male shows we got here. I done redone the salon, so we just trying to do a little something.
Super producer.
Let's go, Big Roy.
What up, people? Jericho Broadcast Networks. We gonna do it. Change the world.
And I'm DVP. I'm your host, Random Thoughts with DVP, where we had these uncomfortable conversations, but we're going to get them in. We're going to educate you whether you like it or not. If you show up, I'm going to get you something. I want to thank y'all for your time. I want to thank my guests. Like I said, if y'all got something y'all want to talk about, whether you want to be on the show, you want me to talk about it, shoot me an inbox, shoot me a text. I'll do some research, and we'll have a conversation. I'm about it. Like I say, I want my people to raise up.
Y'all, that's going to be dope. Y'all be looking for that Law and Order.
So 6 days, 21 hours, and like 47 minutes or something like that. Until then, peace, popcorn, and chicken grease, and we out.
We out.